Well, we'd be all right if the wind was in our sails. We'd be all right if the wind was in our sails. We'd be all right if the wind was in our sails, and we'll all huddle on behind. Well, a drop of Satoshi's blood wouldn't do us any harm. Well, a drop of Satoshi's blood wouldn't do us any harm. No, a drop of Satoshi's blood wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all huddle on behind. And we'll huddle on. And we'll make the bears go long. And we'll huddle on. And we'll make the bears go long. And we'll huddle on. And we'll make the bears go long. And we'll all huddle on behind. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Welcome to the show. This is your morning financial show, the Trader's Treehouse, we're calling it today. Welcome back on time. What's that all about? More or less on time. About 5 minutes late today, rather than the last few days where I've been a couple hours late. That's a good enough reason to hit the like button on this one, maybe. Is it? I don't know. If you're watching it back later on, then welcome to the show. I hope you're having a good time. What we do on the show, of course, is live TA requests. We take a look at charts. What are those things? I'll show you what a chart looks like in just a second here. So yeah, charts, what are they? There are these things up behind me. I get rid of the background. I float here with you know, on top of the charts, and you tell me what we want to look at, and we look at them and see if we can figure out anything that might make us a bit more successful trading these things today than we otherwise would have been. Well, I'm a professional technical analyst, and I've been doing this for quite a while, and I can help you. I can help you, probably. None of this is financial advice. None of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Risk warnings, all the usual stuff. You know it. You're a trader. Everybody here is actually quite familiar with markets. Now, I say everybody. That's not at the exclusion of complete neophytes. If you are new to this gig, you've arrived in the right place, and we are the rising tide. You're the rising tide. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, my friends. Welcome. It's good to see you. How are you? How are you getting on? Let me know how you're doing. How are you getting on? How are you getting on over there, Croc? How are you doing, Siki in my mind? How are you doing, Nathan, Ignacio, Vivenna, there, Kim, Mike, DW, Bad Mama Jama, Cash, Sir Pushkin, Aaron, Phil, Christy, there, Stephen, Vic, and many other wonderful people. How are you all doing it? Well, there's a funny word there, as Darth Vivenna says, welcome to everybody. Welcome indeed. Hey, where's the chat? There's the chat with the chat up. Hello, good friends. Woo. Hey, well, we'd be all right if the wind was in our sails. We'd be all right if the wind was in our sails. We'd be all right if the wind was in our sails, and we'll all huddle on behind. It's good to see you all. This up behind me at the minute is Evergrande. Evergrande. Not been so grandy for the last while. I'm going to just ditch this whole I'm going to just ditch the open interest doodah on this one for today, because we don't need to make things any more complicated than they really need to be when we're doing our technical analysis. I have a setup on chart here. Okay, so let me just break it down for you all if you're new here. Up behind me, I've got the news, which will pop up on any particular stock that you want to take a look at, so we can see if there's any news. What I have right here is this is the MACD. Now you'll notice it's not got the lines on it, it's just the histogram. So right, that's because I primarily use the MACD for divergence, and histogram I think does does a good job at showing us momentum as well. This one here is the stochastics, and it's not just the normal stochastics. It's stochastics with an exponential moving average on there instead of the simple moving average. So if you look over the far side of the indicator over here, you'll see just this little bit of blue, and it says stock E on it because I've edited the code and I use an exponential instead of what would normally say there would be stock D. Right, the next one here, this is the DMI. It's you might not recognize it because of course it is different to how the DMI normally is. This is the Rocky Outcrop DMI right here. It's one that I made. And it's got a few features on it which are quite useful, very useful stuff to have. And well, you know, familiars will know what it is. For new people here, just explaining what it's called and stuff like that should probably be enough. Okay, and then the one up above that is the RSI. So that's the RSI up here, and the RSI, the relative strength index. Of course, that's probably an indicator that you'll have heard of if you are brand new to, or you're relatively new to trading. And if you're brand new to trading, you might not have heard of any of these, but they all do get explained at times during the shows and stuff like that. I'm quite strong on the educational stuff, if so yeah, you don't have to worry. If you don't understand something, then I will endeavor to explain it. And if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, well, I'll endeavor to find out. Okay, I tend to say I don't know, rather than make stuff up here or whatever else. We just try to do honest, good stuff. Right now, there's also the chart itself here with the candlesticks on there, green and red, as you would be more familiar with looking at. If you've seen some of my shows in the past, you might have seen them just be pure white. I actually do like to have my candles as all the same color on my charts, okay? And that's something else we can talk about at other times, but I've got them here set up like this. Now, also you can see that in the background, there's a big shaded area, that's blue area on this chart, for example, and that is another indicator which is called the Rocky Outcrop Flash, and it's developed, by us in this community, and it's available for people if you want to add it to your own charts for $100 a month. Right? It's I think it pays for itself. Although again, not a financial advisor and all the rest of it, no guarantees on any of these fronts. I don't offer out guarantees. Anyway, this is actually something that's unique. You'll not see it on any other channel out there apart from on TradeSpotting, who is my brother. So do check out TradeSpotting sometime if you get the chance and you're looking for more technical analysis. That's youtube.com/TradeSpotting, and he can tell you all about it. This is Evergrande, and of course not being so grandy, and it's back down there. It's dropped back down there to the 227 price point, and this is in Hong Kong dollars, so that adds up to something like 29 cents USD if you're looking over there at the Evergrande OTC stock that you can buy if you've been interested in that. This is something that I'm interested in. I actually have quite publicly gone long on this. Now that has obviously dropped back down, and it's worth pointing out this is a lower low than the last low over here, following on from a lower high. Naturally then that puts this in here as having been a lower high as well. We knew this was a lower high. So when you're looking at charts, you're looking at for these two major concepts: highs, lows. That's a big part of what you're looking for. Here's a high, here's a low, here's maybe high. That's pretty bad example. Anyway, there's a low and there's a high, for instance, right? And at this recent downward turn, we wanted to see the prices then, of course, take out this area just here to put in a higher high, as opposed to putting in a ultimately coming in for a lower low. In between here, of course, we've got this kind of this area in between, right? And it's showing up with the flash right on top of it as it happens. This area was a higher low potentially, which could have put the previous area as being a high followed by a higher low, which is the first two steps towards creating a trend. If we'd put in a higher high thereafter, then we would have been trending out of this immediately, and that would have been great, if just for sort of longs and the bulls in that situation. But looking at this, there was a few kind of little issues with it. You know, this consolidation that occurred down here was going to be an anchor for the prices, and the overall formation at the bottom here hasn't been, strictly speaking, a bottoming formation that you might typically look for in a chart which is having a big turnaround after what has been an otherwise nearly parabolic drop in its value. So we are going to have to remain somewhat patient on this one, you know, and whatever. But I am actually long on this, and I'd actually taken profit on this as well. I mean, I put a video out. I'd actually, you know, managed to make quite decent profits on this one, and then it dropped back down again. Good, whatever, all good. And I've actually then recently just gone long again on it, right? So now, you know, now I actually don't tend to talk about my positions at all, and that's one of the things which you'll see from this point forward in the show, that I'll never really mention whether I personally am long or short on any given stock or ticker that we put out there. I try to give a nice, independent, objective technical analysis, and after years of trading, I'm able to kind of remove myself somewhat from the situation and give an objective approach to things, and hopefully help people. Now, there are a couple of things out there in the world that we want to be do well for a number of reasons beyond simply a short-term trade point of view, and one of those is AMC, which we can take a look at first, right? So this has had a lot of people talking about it recently. A lot of people talking about it recently, and this is what's happened with it. Thanks, champ. I'll get around to reading those in a minute. People, I really do encourage you and appreciate massively the donations and the tips. If you do super chats, fantastic. If you do tip, even better, right? Even better. And there's also the option to do cryptocurrency donations there in the description. Check it out. If you do that and request a ticker, I'll take a look at that ticker for you and try and give you some fairly objective, reasonable technical analysis on it that ought to help you in your making your decisions. Whether that's because I see things the same way as you, or because I see things differently, and we do things in a good approach here. Now, what happens is some people put in donations and tips and whatnot, and I don't ignore them at all. It's just what'll happen is there'll be little sections in the show where I'll go back to look at those, you know. So you can get your messages in. I will then go back and read those messages specifically and interact with those things specifically, and make sure that I do always. Even if I miss it right at the very end of the show, I'll always check that before I tune out. So if I have missed something, I will be able to address that. But I won't necessarily interrupt what I'm doing at the time to address any particular request that comes in. I think that's for the benefit of the overall flow of the show, and it's what people probably want as well. So if you do any of that, then great, fantastic, absolutely, massively, genuinely, heartfelt, 100% honest here. I genuinely, I really do appreciate that. And personally as well, one of my goals personally for this channel is to de-risk my life, in a sense, you know. For a very, very, very long time, I've got everything around me through trading, and it's an exceptionally risk-on life, and I've had health concerns, and these are black swan events that can happen in life. And through YouTube and sharing knowledge with people and being a part of this rising tide where everybody benefits from it, there's a nice positive transactional element that occurs there that increases the quality of my life, and I do genuinely appreciate it. Okay, so that's how I feel. So we'll get around to talking about them when the time comes. This is AMC here, and as you can see, it is now at $28, pre-market trading at $29, and it went as low as $26.81 there recently. Now, this is something that we actually had predicted. Oops, sorry. Well, actually, the drawings there are quite nicely showing us this. Now, did I look at AMC in the show yesterday? I believe I didn't. I believe I did not. I believe I looked at this quite a while ago, really in the scheme of things, like the day before on my birthday, which was just on Monday. And Tuesday. What day was my birthday? Yeah, Monday. Tuesday was my birthday. I've not slept much recently. And that was when I might have last looked at this one or whatever. And we were talking, and we'd also got this you know, the two different ideas here. And you'll notice a few key concepts on the chart right here, which I think is worth explaining to people. And you'll notice, obviously, we'd scoped this area out quite cleanly. And I think that maybe you might also appreciate the kind of the size of this liquidity box here that I'd drawn in, and just how nicely it lines up with the body of that candle and the wick of that candle. And if you're new here to the channel, then this sort of thing is a nice little intro to this is a nice little intro to, you know, what we've got on the show here, the type of thing that you can expect to have right now. You can see it's good quality, right? And there's that potential long position up above there that we talked about. Now this was talking about it from the point of view of whether or not we would see a bounce at a key pivot for us, which was in at $33. Now I've actually subsequently removed the line from here, the $33 line that was in there. I'll just pop another one in roughly in the region to show that this is kind of, you know, how you might have thought about this area in terms of your trade. And as you can see, being tight on the risk here that you were taking, while of course, you know, there was the potential for a decent reward, there was at that point, and it could have happened, it very much looked like it wasn't going to, and it was fairly negative, which is why also in that period of time I removed and wasn't that bothered after having done so a couple of other features I had on the chart, such as a big harmonic pattern which could have put the prices up towards $67 or $80, etc., just as a nice natural movement. Now we've kind of changed conditions slightly, and it would be interesting to see the likes of what Corey in the chat, who's been looking at harmonics with regards to AMC, is thinking here on this chart. Is it AMC that you were looking at, Corey? You can let me know. Where you said there was a few different options, or was that a GME one that we're talking about at the time? I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but I think that there was the potential for this to have gone several different ways, and then that means that now we started off with 4 different ways that it could have gone, narrowed it down fairly quickly to 3 different ways, and I think now as a result of this recent price action, it's been probably narrowed down to one of those. Who knows? Let me. Well, you perhaps know. Let me know. You can see here, obviously, managing your risk at this area, being fairly tight on it, was the right thing to do. And we have then, of course, dropped on further down. Are we going to see a bounce today? We had a nice resurgence in price since the recent drop down. Now we can measure in here and see, well, quite clearly, you know, we're a distance away, if you look at this blue line, as being an area where we could start to see the prices actually get a good trend up towards the top side. We've been trending down on this price action here just on the screen that I have open at the minute since September, but in reality we've been trending down on this since June, and this is the recent of the lower lows that we've put in, a body closing lower and a wick that's gone lower than any of these other moves so far. So obviously we're trending down the way. There are elements of positivity. This bounce in and of itself back outside of that blue zone, very, very good. We can of course look at this as prices open and markets open today and see how things go. It's defending this gap, if you will, is also very, very good, because from just simple sort of gap philosophy on trading, we want to defend that one. If we don't, the chances are we're actually going to $16 and $10 thereafter, and it becomes fairly negative. So this is important times in AMC land over there. It's important times indeed. The failure of the NFT launch and the ticket sales on the Spider-Man movie, and generally speaking, the kind of the negative stuff that's come out from behind the scenes with AMC with regards to the executives, etc., selling off their positions and not showing that faith in the company. Adam Aaron, of course, as well, rug pulled everybody recently, very famously. It's not been reported on, but I think that the majority of people who are trading this, which there are millions upon millions of them, are very much aware of how in the earnings call that they had in a few months ago, he said that he would be selling some of his stock, not all of it, you know, but and that it would be just to diversify because of whatever, and that he would do it over a long period of time, many months, and he would sell off a small percentage at any given time, etc., etc. And then of course, what does he do? But he comes in and he sells off, you know, over a quarter, wasn't it, of what he owned in the space of less than in one day, as opposed to selling a small percentage over a period of months, you know. Or so, you know, that's called a rug pull. If you're completely new to trading, what that means, what that is, the idea of a rug pull, it's one of these kind of, you know, we've got words in trading that are kicking around these days: FOMO, HODL, rug pull, and then as well, you know, recently with the AMC movement, you've got apes, and that sort of thing. Anyway, and degens. Hey, so rug pull. That's whenever somebody who, you know, promises one thing and then pulls the rug from underneath. There's a word which is wrongly used in the AMC movement: shill. A shill, by the way, is a snake oil salesman, somebody who promotes a stock which is going down the way. So everybody who has been saying that AMC is going up and is going to go up, and etc., has been shilling for AMC, and they've been shills as the prices drop down. They've been shilling for it. So that's the reality, is what's been going on in the world of AMC since June. And while we talk about this, we've actually talked about the movements. Now, I diamond hand this thing. It's not with any regret, because I'm doing it with everybody else, with the hope of creating a really good market dynamic in the charts here. If the prices are dropping down below $26, then I'm not happy about that at all in any way. But still diamond handing it and whatever else. But as you can see from the charts here, then nobody else is. The majority of a lot of people are not diamond handing this thing, as you can see, throughout this period of time. Well, the volume has kind of overall been diminishing though, and that's a good thing. Hopefully we you know, because the trend is down and the volume is going down, so hopefully that's a good thing. Increases in volume that we're seeing at this point here, at this danger point, give us that extra reminder that we could, of course, need to keep an extra eye out for any evolution of that. Any increase in volume there could be quite scary for us on that front, right? But anyway, at this point here, could we get a bounce? Yes. Well, we defended the gap, very good. In terms of the divergences, etc. Well, actually, you know, we pushed on lower here. It's not divergent compared to that previous low. Looking back the way, you can see that this RSI has come down out to you know, to as low as it's been since the 5th of January over here. So this is a new condition, but it suffices to say that we are in oversold territory, and at this point you would expect, you know, using that word very loosely, a bounce towards the top side. So there's that. You know, we could look at it from that point of view, and we can also look at it from the point of view of well, there's not an awful lot of positive things on this chart on this time frame, right? Let's just be frank about it. And we can look at it from the perspective of, we're just going to see how things go. Markets are opening up in 5 seconds. We'll see how things go. Obviously, we're a little bit up here on pre-markets, 30-40 cents up. Could be a gap we get filled in here. GME, on the other hand, is doing, you know, bearish stuff that we completely and absolutely anticipated and talked about. There was and I'll just show you that we're still kind of waiting on something happening here, which I'd like to point out. Now, I pointed this out at the time that it happened, so we've been very much aware of this since all the way back over when the prices were $170, and I've been talking about this since October. So now that we're in December, you can imagine that, of course, doing this technical analysis for people and talking about the move along the way here has been, you know, it's been a bit of a waiting game. Had to be patient. Some little fallouts occurred on Twitter as people were talking about things. Let me just be very clear to people out there in the world that you really should not ever fall out with anybody over stuff like stocks on the market in the world and everything else. You know, I know what I do. I know it's good quality content. The people who tune in here all the time know it's good quality content. There's no need to ever fall out with anybody on the internet over whether or not who said what, when, what happened, and everything else. We know what happened here. I mean, for instance, I invented an indicator years ago, and I've been developing it, you know, in terms of like seeing if it works or not for a long time before telling anybody about it. Now, telling people about it, gave it away for free for a long time, a year or more, and then I've developed it even more with the community, and it now shows up on the charts here, and it's a wonderful thing. And of course, I spoke about the chances of this coming back down to 170, 150. Now, the thing is, we also talk about this as maybe only needing to do 90% of the move towards an area. So people have been asking, you know, how long, like when could we see things turn around and so forth. And the one way of kind of looking at this is to say that we have come down as far as the 886 Fibonacci retracement from the point at which where that flash is. I need to remove all this so we can actually see what's on the charts here. So this was which was hidden bullish divergence is old news stuff on the chart there. You can see here we've come right down to this 90% area at that 886 Fibonacci, finding support so far just in there. And actually, what have we got here? Right, markets are open and it's a gapped up to begin with, coming back down, filling in this gap first off, just doing what needs to be done at the start of business, right? So on the show here, ladies and gents, and I'm just taking the charts off on purpose so you can see that I'm talking about this. On the show here, frequently in the past, I have done market open sessions, trading with people, telling people, you know, how moves will go, calling the market to the penny with astounding levels of accuracy. I invite you to go back and look at any of the technical analysis videos that I've got on YouTube, of which there are over 2,000, all of which were always recorded live. You know, if they were recorded, I'd never used a script on a YouTube video in my life, and the live technical analysis, very much live, very much real, very real experience stuff. So it's there, and I would be happy to do this sort of thing if it was in demand from people, but we're not seeing any growth on that front, although some people have asked me to in the past. I've not seen any growth on that front, so I could open the charts up right now and have them jumping around minute by minute doing the thing and doing those moves, but I've not done that for a wee while on the show. And if people really want that to happen, they can absolutely call for it to happen and show up and talk about it and be active on that front. Or we can discuss what we really want. And what we're doing today is we're taking requests from people for the analysis that comes in. I've covered the GME analysis enough so far with what's happened so far in the trading day, and for what needs to, and what we've got coming up in terms of our expectations and where we are with it, and what we could be looking at. I'm just moving my chart over in the background here to AMC so I can take a look and see how that got on in its opening period. Nice, you know, gap. It's actually still going. The momentum's there with it. Left that gap on the charts. You know, it's less than ideal to have left that gap on the charts, but if we actually start to want to trend out of this situation, then we're going to put in a higher low at some point, and maybe that's where we find our higher low. You know, so far we're doing okay. I'm not seeing like that there is there's disappointing volume at the start of the on this subsequent candle here with the green movement up. It doesn't look particularly strong, and I would anticipate that well, you know, unless we actually see this. It doesn't look massively strong at the minute, even with that movement up. Okay, even with that, this is just me trying to find the pulse of the market at the start of the day. So, you know, I could be completely wrong about that. There's plenty of time. Wait, there's 1.5 minutes left on this candle. Yeah, sorry, I was looking. So there you go. There's me thinking that I was about to close that one as I was making an assessment of the 3-minute time frame in the background, live, ad lib, whatever. Right. We can do things. We can do things in ways that if you want. So here's whatever way you want, and talk about things in that way. But so if you don't know what that is and you're wondering what it is, that is come on, get working. Come on, there we go. Green light now on that one. That is the ticker bingo machine. Okay, I'll just show you that so you can see the ticker bingo machine. Can I get that so it's visible up behind me? Was it visible on the big screen? Why is it not running? Right, you got a brief glimpse of it there. It's because I'd knocked the plug out of the wall. Okay, I'm going to rerun those ticker bingo things, and we'll do ticker bingo. We can do ticker bingo. Now, ticker bingo, what is ticker bingo? If you're wondering, and if you're new here to the channel, it is a fun thing that we do, right? It's we're making a list of bingo balls that are in the bingo machine there. It's a legit, actual, proper, professional bingo hall bingo machine thing. It's cool. It cost me quite a packet to buy it, by the way. Anyway, that thing behind me is good, and we use it for having fun. What happens is you put in a donation of $20 or more, as Space Banana just did there. It cracks on the machine. The tune goes for like 17 seconds, I think, and that gives me enough time to get up, pick the ball out the top, hopefully actually, you know, sucks one up there, and you know, it's chaos inside that, so it's random when the ball actually goes up the tube. So hopefully in the first 17 seconds I get the ball, see what number it is, that relates to a particular stock, and then that's what we do the TA on. And then if people want to have their stock have a chance of being in that ticker bingo thing, then they just have to ask. Well, great. Now we are bouncing here as well. You know, we have bounced on AMC, great, and we had a little bounce on GME so far, or whatever, great. So that's all great. So positivity so far at the start of the day. That's what we want to see in the stocks. Thanks so much for that, Space Banana. So yeah, let's just give it a wee run, shall we? So you can see how it goes. I need to get my other camera on the go and point it in the right direction, right? Just give me a second. This is going to be pointing at me in a second, but I'm going to get this camera up so it works. So there's if I just let me get the other camera. Where's the other camera? Oh, there. Is that me? That's me, right? And then there's another camera. Come on, where's my other camera? Because I've got a camera right here that points at the ticker bingo machine, but I'm not seeing it on my little list of live streaming life as a YouTuber. While I sort this out, I'll get the charts up so you can see our pal AMC. Right, great, going great. Okay, cool. What I was talking about was that in that previous candle, by the way, just to give people a note, when I thought that this candle was it was around about here, so whatever at the time, and I thought we were at the end of that 3-minute period, and I was looking down below and I saw the volume was still very low. So the first candle had come up and the volume was here. The candle was here and the volume was up high, and then the next candle was on there. I thought it was about to close and it moved higher on significantly less volume, and that was when I said, oh, that looks weak, because that would be a sign of things looking weak, right? So this is this nice increase in volume a little bit here as we've gone shows that, you know, it's not been purely and exclusively the pre-markets that's pushed it here so far. Notable thing to point out, the fact is that we are here trying to close out a candle in the next few minutes, which could actually be putting in a high, which, you know, here to which would be higher than these ones, and that would be good. But these highs are part of a downward trend, okay? So these are all lower highs. So what we want to put in is a high, followed by a higher low, potentially here, followed by a higher high, potentially somewhere around about there. So what that would be ideal, really. You know, if we can actually crack higher right now and do that, then that's also ideal. Fantastic. That's totally would be fantastic. But to suggest that we really need that, it would be overlooking the fact that this is, of course, a lower high as part of a downward movement, and this would be just a high. So here we are having this kind of asking that question just now, and how we're going to get on with that. This could form at the minute a half-staff bull flag of some form as well, and what we're going to just measure for today is if ticker bingo. What we're going to measure for today is whether or not we are in this period of time, if we're consolidating in this region just here, right? This is how we're going to do this for today, okay? Above $30, and $30 a very significant round number, of course, as well. If we're above that here, then cool, up we go, etc., etc. If we're below that number in the next wee while, in terms of closing out a 3-minute candle below it, then what we're going to go down to is the 618 golden pocket, the edge of this blue zone again, and where that gap is, you know, in terms of like regions where you would hope to find that the demand comes back in again to buy at. Okay, so some people might be out there waiting for a second bite of the cherry. They might have already have taken profit of that region, and that might be by way you might see some decline in the prices here. But right here at this price point right now, as we're looking at it, it is of no surprise to see that that is where, of course, the questions are being asked right now. So that's what's going on with the chart there. Okay, GME. So as you can see, this is the good quality shizness. Now, what's going to happen next, right, is I'm going to hide my back. Actually, I'll hide my background so I'm not up on the show. I'm not covering up the charts. I'm going to hide my background. Boom. Wow. How technologically amazing. You know, the news we've got today the 2nd or the 3rd? The 2nd, right? Wall Street bet stocks mostly higher pre-Bell Thursday. Cool. Wall Street bet stocks. That's what they're calling them these days. So that was, well, we knew that anyway. We talked about that. 10 consumer discretionary stocks whale activity in today's session. That's shite news. Bazinga's news is going to be shite. Newswire's news is going to be shite. Here's stock news for Wall Street bets, stocks to avoid in December. More shite, more shite news. It's not actually news, it's just shite. Bazinga, more shite. GameStop stock fakes a breakout but doesn't look done yet. Blah, blah, blah. Social buzz, more shit. Bazinga, more shit. Bazinga, more shit. This is all shit news. This is all shit. It's just shit, right? It's not news. It's shit. It's just content. Okay. This is the social media. This is the click economy over here, right? That's what that news is up here. That's the click economy up there. There's no actual news there. Here's some sorts of examples of actual type of news. As another company here, the Evergrande that we started off with on today's show, actual sorts of news. And look at this indicator, by the way, again calling the prices to the very frickin' penny as well for us. This thing here, which is available for, so when the prices were up here and I was considering whether or not when the prices were up there, no, I wasn't actually trading it at that point of view. When the prices were up here, and I was considering whether or not this was done at this point, and I actually am yet to update the code and indicator. Going to make it so that this flash would stop on the penny or whatever, as opposed to whatever. I don't know. This was close. I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me. The point being that I saw this indicator in here and I'm not a greedy type, so I'm happy enough to go a penny or two shy or whatever, a penny shy of the price. That's okay. So then this rise up here, I knew to sell at that point. Okay, then the prices came back down. Now I would have known that was the price to have closed out my shorts, etc. Wow, amazing. What a fucking indicator, eh? Unbelievable. Also, with regards to news, this is more newsy. This isn't about the actual company, it's about another company that's related to this company, but at least you're getting news from the industry, and it does mention the company that's on this chart in that one. In that piece of news, this one here, home prices dip in November survey, Evergrande shares fall under chairman cuts stake, blah blah blah. So that's more newsy. That's more newsy. And then over here on a stock which we will like to look at today, and it's gone a nice little rise up so far on its one, and we've already scoped this price point out. Below 9.95, not that great. Talked about this in the Discord as well, which you can be a member of. If you want to be a member of the Discord and you're looking to be a part of that, this is the last month that you'll be able to buy it at $25 per month to be a member of the Discord. From January, it's going up to $50 or more, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, who knows, eh? But it's at $25 per month at the minute, and the price is not going down. So if you want to join the Discord, it's the 2nd of December. It's the best value time of the month to do that. Likewise, if you want my indicator, it's the best value time of the month to do that. Both of them are done through Patreon. HTTPS, patreon.com/RockyOutcrop, and it's very obvious on there, right? There's the thing, $25 that is for the Patreon, $100 is called indicator tier, that's for the indicator, and then there's a $200 one, which is because maybe you actually you want to send me some value back here, and it's not a quid pro quo thing, right? Because Patreon, initially when I set it up, right, it was set up to be to support me in my endeavors on the channel, just to be like, hey, let's do this thing. And now it's all become quid pro quo in terms of there's actual, you're getting something for it and all the rest of it, but there still is a tier on there of which there's one member, right? And I'm not going to say who it is because but there's one member at that top tier. So there's one person on the Patreon who's deliberately giving me more money than not asking for anything in return, okay? And very much appreciated. And I know who you are, and you know who you are, and you're awesome. Right, so anyway, right, this here, right now, as we look at this chart and say, can we get up towards, this sort of price point? If we start to flag at any point here, we're going to be asking simple questions. The methodology that we like to use on the channel at these times to do this is a Fibonacci on a logarithmic scale, and the logarithmic Fibonacci as well. By the way, if you don't know how to do that, the way you do it, you take out the options, you hit that button down the bottom, and we're looking to stay above this 236. So if you're also wondering what it is that I do all this charting on, that software's TradingView. And you can find a link to that in the description if you want to use it. And I recommend it. Honestly, do. I'm an official partner of theirs now, and using that link would be very beneficial to me. It costs you nothing. It gets you a month extra on top of whatever it is that you're doing by using the link, and it's and it helps the channel. It helps me out, right? So yeah, so this little this little bit of a tapering of the prices at this moment in time is okay, providing that we stay above our simple sort of targets. As you can see, immediately giving us that confirmation straight away, as if you needed it. That's obviously yet again the area to be looking at on your prices. Boom. This is how you do this stuff, right? So we're flying here. We're having a great day already, and it's at this point here that I'm going to check the chat messages and see what everybody else has been saying, and then we're going to do a ticker bingo thing of some sort and check it out. Or maybe it's time. Actually, you know what, everyone? Hello. Oh, there's the camera. Hi. Cool. Yeah, that's the camera I was looking for. Give me this camera. Sorry, hold on a second. Yeah, paste this. No, give me this camera. Where's this camera? Sorry, hold on a second, everybody. You just have to hold on. Your YouTuber is doing YouTube stuff. There, that thing. Where is that? What's that one? That is called Bingo Cam. Good name for it. Well done. And then over there it is. Right, now let's try and aim this at the machine. Oh no, am I always going to block the machine on that angle? Where do I have to be? Okay, so I have to be here. Ah, damn it. Ah, fuck it. Fuck it. Sort that out some other time, right? Sort that out some other time. So I'll just hide that for now. Wrong one. No, hide the bad one. Okay, folks. Scrap the old ticker bingo list, right? Scrap it, fuck it, scrap it, it's gone. Although I know that there were some that people added extra to and that we don't want to ditch that, right? So advocate for yourselves, all right? I'll do a couple. PCT, that's still on there. Kerr, that's still on there. That's a uranium stock that Sal asked for. PCT is that one. So there's a few that people asked for a number of times to be on there and donated to, and I can remember those two off the top of my head. So let me know if you feel disenfranchised in that front. But what we have then now is an opportunity to say fuck it about all the rest of the bingo machine balls, and we'll start that thing off again, right? We'll start it off again. So if you want to get a bingo machine ball on there, then what you need to do is donate $20 and or more, right? And tell me what it is. There'll be 10 balls in the machine. 10 balls in the machine, $20 to get a ball. After the point at which those 10 balls are filled out, then you have to bid it up higher, and you can knock one of the other balls off the list, right? Simple as that. A bit of fun for us, and if the bidding starts at $20, right? And honestly, with the greatest respect, if you think that sounds like a high number, then you might be at the wrong party. With the greatest respect, and then and I'll keep a note of it in my book. Shout to Sauce Food Cart. You proud of me? I hope so. Right. So that's what we'll do, right? So I'll put PCT on there and thingy, and I'll read the chat here for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get around to doing stuff, right? And by the way, obviously, look at that, that's doing nice. Obviously, while I could have obviously been doing like just intense technical analysis or intensely reading the chat and intense interaction with chat or whatever, this show has been, as you might well have noticed, because the 99% of people watching right now have seen me explain all of this in the past. This is a show which I hopefully people can share with their friends, or can refresh and reintroduce people to me and what we're doing here on the channel, and they can understand what's going on, get a flavor for my personality and all that sort of stuff easily, and decide if they want to come back. I wanted this show to be a good one, you know, a good fresh welcoming show that people who are not part of the community already can feel engaged, that they can engage with. And if you are new here, take the opportunity to chat in the chat box, because really all the people who tune in regularly are the best people. They're so friendly and supportive, you know. There's no angst or nerves or hatred or anything in this chat here, you know. It's the best place to be, honestly, right? Honestly. So AMC, it's still doing its thing as well. Nice, great, excellent, so long as it stays buffed. You'll notice that, of course, you know, we've obviously already presumably blown your socks off in terms of like the quality, etc. that's here. Now, technical analysis. Oh shit, am I? Oh yeah, you can see me. Technical analysis, folks, right? What is technical analysis? It's two things. It is the buying and selling of risk, and it is doing the simple things well. Actually being a good trader and using technical analysis to be a good trader. What is the technical trader? The technical trader buys and sells risk as they assess it using charts. And what was the other one? And sell risk. Doing the simple things well. Doing the simple things well. And that's what mastery is. Complex processes are chains of simple things tied together. Complex processes seem like magic at first to people, but it's a series of simple things done well at the right times. Now, it still remains quite hard for me to articulate what those simple things are to do at what times, despite years and years and years and years and years of doing this, because after a certain point, you know, when you get into a different area where of trading, where so much of this stuff, well, I mean, for me anyway, becomes like driving a car, you know, where it's all second nature and whatever, you know, and then it's like the experience of when you're trying to teach somebody how to drive a car, especially if it's an automatic gearbox, you know what I mean? And you're trying to teach somebody new, and it's like, and you're like doing stuff like, well, you know, you lift the clutch up as you do this with the thingy, you know, that's the clutch accelerator thing, right? That makes sense to people that know how to drive a manual car. But what does that mean to a new trader? You know what I mean? So anyway, right. So we try in the show here. I'm going to read the chat for a couple of minutes. I realize that all the meta discussion that I've had so far, explaining who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm about to do next, has added on, you know, a massive chunk of time, which, you know, delays things a wee bit. I hope that you're all right with that. I truly do want to make an accessible show today. Another thing that we'll do, by the way, is that we'll talk about little aspects of where we've come in terms of the charts this month, and in terms of hope and copium for people, what it is that we're looking at right now in December here, which has maybe been overlooked, probably most likely been overlooked by the majority of people who make content on this subject, despite the fact that it's a new month. Now, I actually called my show yesterday New Month, and I intended on doing this yesterday on December the 1st, because, you know, I would, because it makes sense, but I actually forgot. And it involves going up towards the monthly time frame. As you can see here, this is November, right? That's November there. This is December on AMC. This is the monthly time frame. That was that month. This is the month of December. If I just take out a little sort of stick to measure this thing, so, you know, like this, it's roughly that size. I can just grab this. You can see much bigger than the previous month. I hope you can see that. And it's also already, you know, the same size or slightly bigger than October's movement, all already, and this is the 2nd of December. Now, what this could be in terms of an ideal situation is, if we remember, you know, sorry, if I just take this stick back again, see, this is this measuring stick. See, if this is the size that we've gone down there, you can see over there in that month, what was that, August, how we had twice of what we've, or more, two and a bit of what we've already done this month down there. So this candle would have been like all horrible looking for a big chunk of time, and then eventually went back up like that. Over here, you know, we would have had a big movement up the way of down the way. Sorry, we had a big movement down the way in this month, and it kept going. It came all the way down to these levels and had more than what we've done this month already in terms of its recovery at that point, you know. And this candle here eventually became green and then moved more than what we've done already, and more than what we did in October or November, towards the top side by a factor of 2, you know. Like, so in terms of like the immediacy of the impact emotionally of coming down to low areas, and where we are now, this sets us up for a candle which is, you know, it's got the size of what, you know, it's got this big girthy wick on it. It's got that, we could have a really nice looking monthly candle here as a result of doing all of this. And it would be quite unusual to see a candle which doesn't have a wick to the downside. Okay, so just looking back in terms of AMC's history here, this is a candle that had a very small wick. This had a very small wick as well, but it actually did have a wick to the downside. But let's just say that it was since, you know, June 2019, you know, that was the last time we had a month that really, you know, ended down there at its lows, really right at them. Maybe you could make the debate for saying December 2019 was the last time. Maybe you could make the debate to say that the 1st of December 2020 was, or the December 2020 was the time when that had happened. Who knows? But, you know, looking at the volatility that exists on this stock, maybe you make the debate and say it was October. But the fact of the matter is, this is a wick on this candle so far. And that and that's where we are, and having that is not so bad. If this does turn into a green candle, it starts to look like the type that we had in August, with a big lower wick on it. You know, there's no point in kidding ourselves. It would be a big wick on the lower end of this. You know, so you'd be hoping to have a substantial body towards the top side. Hopefully a body which is bigger than the wick. You know, hopefully that after the recovery we recover more again, further. So, you know, what we want to see is obviously a movement up the way, which has got, you know, from the equivalent of moving from $26 to $34, so it should be an $8 move. We'd want to see an $8 to $10 move up the way, given that the top here is 34 and our next significant pivot up above is 40 and 44. It is absolutely conceivable that that sort of thing could happen, and that's where your positivity would come in from, after the time at which, you know, not only have we defended after having, you know, come down here and done this gap thing, but we've now, you know, managed to kind of move on from that malaise thinking wise. GME over here, monthly time frame, that was our previous month, that huge wick there, giving you the impression, hopefully, in terms of how that month ended, as to what it meant when I was talking about the relative size of kind of wicks versus bodies. It's not like that's a massive component of TA that you really need to understand all the time, but you can see that it's a story that somewhat speaks for itself, in terms of when you've got the volatility that went down and then back up again, i.e. there's a range there. It didn't go down and end there. It didn't express itself outside of that range. Instead, it went down into a range and back up again, versus whenever you've traveled beyond a range, you know, and the mentality of those differences between those things are expressed within wicks and bodies implicitly, and of course that becomes clear over time. And this new month here that we're in is a good opportunity to talk about these things here and see them on the charts for us right now. We do not have an engulfing candle in the negativity that we've seen so far, bearing in mind that we actually came from 170, 160, etc. in November 182, and so far the bodies are above 183. Yeah, so we actually came at the end, you know, towards the end of that month we were in 170 in October, then right through November we were above that region. We've come back down, you know, we could actually see the prices go further, but we've achieved more or less enough in terms of the movement back towards where that flash was. I would like to see it, and I'm still more or less patiently waiting for $171.50 to come in, or closer, maybe 173 or so, before you know, so I'm not bearish on this. I'm actually bullish on this stock, as you all know who watch the channel regularly. But by the same token, I wouldn't mind buying some more of it at yet another 5% discount. And who's with me on that? Probably everybody, right? So I've done the monthly thing now on those two time frames. We can do other sorts of stuff in terms of monthly analysis, but by the way, anybody talking about whether or not GME's in a some sort of flagging thing, etc., and whatever else, and our AMC Now we talk about these things, and we talked about them on the show before, etc. You really need to be looking at things on a really big time frame for that to make sense. If you see somebody saying going on to the small time frame, like the 1 hour time frame, and you know, and saying, look at this, it's the mother of all bull flags, that's somebody who doesn't know what technical analysis is. They just don't know what it is. Right? Because that just doesn't make sense on that time frame. Because if that's the way that you think, then or you know, if you think that translates and that you can then say that this is a bull flag, having found it on a bigger time frame, which they haven't, by the way. It's just that they thought it was a bull flag, you know, since June, and they've just kept saying the same thing ever since, and that's an issue. But if that's what they're thinking, then they might as well just go and say that, look at the 1 year time frame. You know, is this wait a minute, 1 hour, 1 range? I didn't want that. This is an interesting chart, but I'm not going to talk about this ever. In fact, you know, I didn't even know that they had that on TradingView. Oh no, they did know they had that. It didn't matter. It's interesting. Anyway, here is the if you're going to be talking about things like that, then you might as well talk about the yearly time frame. Okay, the yearly time frame here for us, or something like that. You might as well, you know, what does this mean then for them? Or let's stick it on the 2 month time frame. You know, that's much better. You know, in which case, like anyway, whatever, right? So moved on from that. What's the chat? I'll just check these messages here first, right? Like I say, this is that section of the show where I'll be doing this thing. Ticker bingo, cool, buddy. Let me know what you'd like that to be on, or indeed if you want it on what you've already got. I can happily add AVAX. I know that AVAX or AVAX or Avalanche was what you'd wanted. Do you want that on there still? The reason I didn't include that in the list of ones which had been, you know, PCT and Kerr is because I know you closed your position on that one, and I don't know if you still want that one on the list or not. So that's just a care thing as opposed to an ignorance thing. Bam Mama Jama, Hood shorting itself. Ha ha ha! Got to get money. Is that actually, are you joking, man? This is the 2 month time frame on Hood. We all like to hate this stock quite a bit. It's good, isn't it? Let's go to the 24 hour time frame, and yeah, nice negativity here on this thing. We've been negative on this since it started. I mean, after, you know, we had to acknowledge that there was that big rise up. We got that gap in here. We filled that gap in. We didn't defend it. Now I want to show people here, suppose since we're on this time frame, we're talking about stock and we're talking about stuff that's relevant. This is not some sort of direct comparison in terms of like this is what's going to happen. This is me just showing you that obviously we'd previously come down close to that gap, and then we came in and we actually filled in the gap, as was not happened in the next candle, and we defended the gap so far during that day. But then I say we, but they, you know, here again trying to defend it the next day, but you know, it's difficult again the next day after that. But then we see that we're trending here, and it's very, you know, that's not good. Okay, this is not good at this point. Then this is very much not good as well. Not good, very much not good. You know, then the failure here at this point to break back up above where we'd already where we'd established this kind of resistance in here or whatever, you know, very bad, right? And then of course this is you know, just this is a downtrend, right? It's been a downtrend since then, and obviously then we've gone in and put in lower lows all the way along. In fact, this is now an all-time low. So Hood shorting itself, you say that, I wonder if the people are doing that. They probably are. And they obviously, IPOs in many ways, they're ways of raising money, but the IPOs are great for companies that are growth companies that are looking to raise money to then grow. But then when you've got a company which is like, we've got so much value, you just want to kind of distribute that value to people, that like the Robinhood IPO, that was that if they didn't immediately start to go into growth mode and have a plan and everything else there for how they were going to do that and grow, then the price of the stock is obviously going to fall, because the reason they're doing the IPO is in order to distribute to people after they've of course then got access to their stocks. It's an exit thing. It's a way of raising capital, and it's a part of running businesses, and it's called shitting on your face, right? It's called shitting on your face. Just quickly briefly show the GME chart over here and bring up this concept again and of IPOs and everything, and just to bear in mind that really, you know, back in this period of time and whatever else, and then the run up here, this is like an IPO for GameStop. The company is two different companies. It's so clear that that they were a company which was living in a world where the they're so clear, right, in terms of this chart, right? It's just so obvious. 2003, you know, 2003, you've got like Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, right? So you've got GTA 3. And that was the one where he was running around in 3D. You know, it was the first time. It was behind him. It was a new world. You know, it was totally different compared to the previous iterations, which had been this top-down look, 2D and everything else. You know, this was while the PlayStation was obviously out in this period of time. Back here, you know, things grew and grew and grew. Then of course, .coms, blah blah blah, drop downs, all that crap happened along the way, and everything just went to crap. And really, by this point here in 2019, you're looking at brick and mortar shops closing down. You've had the likes in the UK of Woolworths having gone bust when about here. So, or when did Woolworths go bust? The Woolworths went bust about here. The UK, like, you know, institutions. When did Sears go? Was that about there? You know, when was Sears? You know, this sort of thing. Like, what? You know, we know this has been the way of the world, okay, for a long time. And then Ryan Cohen came in, bought some, started talking about moving to an e-commerce model. They had, in this period of time, the board was preparing for it, and the company was like shedding old stock, changing its inventory around, getting rid of stores which are crap. In this period of time, then they got rid of a whole load of extra stores, and then in this period of time as well, they continued that. And what you're looking at there is a growth company, and it's very much like the IPO, where they came in with an initial offering essentially here of $3, you know, and everybody was like, yes, well, this thing's going to grow fast, and then they bought it up, and this is what happened. And then since then, we've been able to sustain levels at high prices, and we've not actually done anything like the like any of the other squeezes from history, like Volkswagen, etc. So when people talk about the mother of all short squeezes, this was of course the mother of all short squeezes. You know, this was MOASS 1.0. I mean, it already did more in this period of time than Volkswagen ever did in terms of percentage growth, and that's the only thing that matters. That's as in if you had $1 and you put it into GME at this point here, then you took it out at this point here, then you did way better than anybody who put $1 in at the low of Volkswagen back in the other massively well documented squeeze that people talk about inside this world, and took it out at their top. You did way better. Moreover, you actually did better if you put $1 in there and you still had it in today pretty much than Volkswagen did at its very peak. And moreover, we're still up high compared to where we were. So, you know, you make the comparison between that sort of a stock, and then you make the comparison between this sort of a stock, which literally kills its own customers, which literally ruins the trading experience of people, and that actually, you know, stopped the buy button on that other IPO. So you look at GME over here, and when this is going on, Robinhood, the trading platform, are like, oh fuck, we don't want to let anybody buy this. We can't let anybody buy any more of this, and the SEC changed its own rules and broke its own rules to allow the corrupt SEC, sorry Gary Gensler, etc. Sorry in that's the case and everything. But the corrupt SEC changed its rules to fit the needs of one organization when it should have had a margin call. When you and I know that not one single broker or prime broker out there would ever do that for us. They would absolutely liquidate your account, and they would not feel bad about it, and they would do it, and there would be no problem. Whereas while we as retail traders are protected, and that we should have access to the things that we own under these circumstances, and also be recompensed if things go wrong, etc., that they changed the rules to let Citadel get away with it when they should have had to have handed over $3.4 billion in additional margin on this day here, and they didn't do it. And then they conspired with, and it's documented, and although they deny it, It's documented, and we all know hashtag kengriffinlied. We all know that that's the truth. That in this time here, that the guy got on the phone with Vlad and he says, stop letting people buy it. Then what they do themselves as a company later is that they need to go for an IPO. The prices rise up, and what happens? Boom, right the way down. And there's the difference, you know, there's the difference. And that's why we can hate this company, you know, that's why we know that they're just a bunch of dicks, right? And it's good to see their company doing badly, right? It is, you know, sorry. And if you're a shareholder of that company, well, I don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry, how can I? You're aware of what you bought into. So anyway, then that was me. I was trying to read the chat here. Sorry, I got distracted. Cheers. Rocky, sell me your course. Everybody, I have a course out there. Please do consider going for it. It should be a link in the description down below. Please, if somebody, if it's not in the description, could somebody let me know? It should be a link to that in the description. And this is something that me and TradeSpotting are putting together to try and help people who are new to trading, who are traders already, who want to just kind of go through a system which will kind of, you know, make them more aligned with success. But to be honest with everybody out there, I'm never going to hard sell that course on anybody. If you want to do it, the reasons why you want to do it are reasons that you've known your entire life. You know, they're the reasons that you get up in the morning. They're the reasons why you tune into this show at all. They're the reasons why you have a brokerage account. Those reasons are the reasons why I would say that you'd want to do that course. But hey, Champ 420, you and your brother are out here changing lives. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Champ. That's so brilliant. And yeah, that's us caught up. Brilliant. So as well, you know, that's great. Thanks, guys, for that. That's appreciated. Really massively appreciated. Yeah, I didn't miss any. That's massively appreciated, chaps. And then there's the other chat here. Ooh, hello, people. Let's just see how you're getting on. Ronaldo Moreno. Oh, Ronaldo Moreno. He's such a great guy. If you're watching right now and you're looking for a musician out there to listen to at times, Ronaldo Moreno, check him out on YouTube. He's a really good guy as well, which is nice. Like button. I just remembered, Jess, JRaz2218. Please, everybody, hit that like button. That would be appreciated. What have we got happening in here in the chat then? I'm just going to scroll up a whole chunk, as you can see, right? I'm going to scroll up a whole chunk here and just quickly go through. You can see I've got it on top chat. I'm just going to move this over to live chat, and oh shit! Oh well, I've lost all the chat that I had there. If I go out to top chat, will I get it all back? Nope. Oh well. So as you can see, I was fully intending on reading every message that anybody put in, scanning through it quite quickly. I would have scanned through quite quickly. They've all gone. So I'm sorry, right? I would have read them. I came to do that. TradeSpot, no way. Jamie, are you Jordan? Blah, blah, blah. No. Joe, good to see you, Joe. They both start with a J. They're just chatting with each other. That's cool. Just messing around. You might see Jamie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's cool. Hope he did. Ray means we share excellent taste in all things. Oh, what did Ray say? I used Bing Bong in my song last night. It could be plausible they heard it, TradeSpot. What do you think, Michael Jordan's Ghost? I wonder. Wait, who said? I sang Purple Rain in your honor, Bruley. I will avenge you. Hey, I was hoping that you would, man. I missed that. Damn it. Hey, purple rain, purple rain. All right, don't give up, Rocky. The image can be edited easy peasy. Don't give up. What was I giving up on? Hold Alt, drag sides out. Please do it, Rocky. You can just hold Alt and drag sides of the image wider and taller. What image? Oh, you're talking about the ticker bingo image. Oh, it's just because okay, cool, we'll get back on that in a second. So that was a wee while ago that we had that chat. Oh, the chat's not. Pump the chat, people, pump the chat. That was ages ago I was doing that. Must be nice to have those kind of connections in industry when things go wrong. Oh, you're chatting with each other in there as well. I'm just a poor boy from Bulgaria. Yeah. Easy, short, hard to long. Stop the buy button. Yeah. I felt well bad afterwards when the guy invited me for tea and talked about how he needed his car. So there's more chat in there. AK Hood, yeah, cool. Rock Outcrop, could you take a gander at coping? How are you coping? Let's take a look at that, my friend, my copan. Okay, cool. Enough with the puns. Yay, Green D. EXPR is up 25% right now. Wow. Jeez. AHT looking good. Nice one. I knew a few people who got hospitalized doing the same thing multiple times. Lucas, man, it was yourself in the Discord, right? Was it? Was it yourself in the Discord, Lucas, that we were chatting last night? Let me know if you think that was, did you see my follow-up message as well? I put in a follow-up message some hours later. I don't know if you saw that in there. Cheers, Rocky. You've sold me, but I've never traded before. Is it in installments? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can do it. You can do it in installments if you want. In 3 of the. If possible, you should entirely avoid Kill for any purpose. Kill might be different now. I wonder. Tracepawn, are there any issues with 1UP ADA address? Right. I might have had that sort of thing. I can get Cardano addresses and stuff like that. Oh, okay then. For everybody that's new here and that as well, there's something that we do in the show, and it's squats. Okay, we do squats. Amber's in there. She's eager to do some squats. Let's do some squats. Now, the reason why we do squats in the show is twofold. One, it's the health benefits. It's the health benefits. It's the mind benefits. We oxygenate our brains. We kind of think a bit more as a result of doing some exercise, and it's a good thing to do. Nice movements up here. You'll notice you're probably eyeballing these things at the minute, and you're probably eyeballing them and assessing them as to say, is this a bull flag, and then what it would look like if I were to measure it out. I'll leave this on screen without measuring it out, and you can just kind of imagine it for yourselves. Then we can come back after the squats, measure out that bull flag on the 1 hour time frame, and see if Cardano maybe is consolidating within an area where it might get some follow through on the charts. I suppose as well, actually, I'll just let everybody think for a wee while by popping on the Bollinger Band and see if that is of any use to anybody. And I'll also fix that camera as well before too long. So that's cool. That's cool. Getting alerts on my phone because there's been some significant price movements on things that I'm trading and stuff like that. That's nice. By the way, proactive full-time trader. I took some time off over the last couple of weeks. Well, actually, in the last week. So it really was a week of being late, to be honest with you. And during that time, I was able to trade a couple of times in the morning, and I thought that was quite nice. I actually sacrificed my own trading to do this show. It's no big deal, really, but this actually costs it costs me on a I'm not this isn't a thing. This is for the new people who are just tuning in. This show on a level, even at the times when I get the donation levels that make me cry, that I feel that overwhelmed with the generosity and kindness of people, it cracks me up now thinking about it. Even at those times, it still costs me doing the show. I'll make more money if I don't do the show, right? Simple. Okay, so squats. Let's do some squats. Let's do 20 squats. I'll just pop the background on. When I come back, I'll fix the. When I come back to this, hello everybody. Queen Bee. This is we call this the Queen Bee camera, shall we? Some people know what I mean by that. Yeah, let's do this. I'll fix the thing. I'll fix the squat cam. I'll fix the camera. The bingo camera in a second. When I come back, I'll do some squats behind. 20 seconds. It takes 1 minute to do squats. Twofold reasons, right? One is the health benefits, oxygenates our brain, and it's healthy to do. And the second one is because, like I said earlier on the show, I've had my own health problems in life. And getting fitness is getting to the point where I could be somewhat fit is like a big challenge for me. And I appreciate that learning technical analysis is a big challenge, And this is kind of like me showing you that that I know what it's like to try at something, and then we can all see me grow too. Because when I started off, I could only do 10, but now I can do 20. Which is 100% more. So we'll do 20 squats, and we'll do good squats. Deliberate practice. So see, when you're going down the way, you don't let gravity just drop you down. This is my second squat. And when you get down to the bottom, it's grass to the ass, baby. Grass to the ass. And up again. So this is what it's like when gravity does it. Okay, have you seen people do a squat like that before? That's gravity. That's cheating. Okay. So I've still only done 2. This is my 3rd squat. And then we'll make the last one a good one. It only takes a minute, girl. Okay, so that's as good as it can be, Jamie. Right? That is as good as it can be without me unscrewing this thing, lifting it up, moving my monitors. That's as good as it can be, and it means that I'm in it half the time. Okay. But let's see. Can I, like you said, oh, yep, I can lift it up. Good one. Good one. Right, okay, that's better. Excellent work, Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. This is well frustrating. If I'm here, I need to... Oh, whatever. Whatever. Right, so that's good. That's cool. Anyway, you just know how to activate that. I didn't see your comment in the chat, Space Banana, about what you'd like your ticker bingo ball to be. And it's 3:20, by the way, so that means that we've not got a massive amount of time left on the show. Folks, I started at the right time today, so if you're just tuning in a bit later, and you're thinking, oh, this is great, Rocky's got another couple of hours to go. He doesn't, by the way. He's tuning out within half an hour. I'm a resource if you choose to use me. I'm here for the next half an hour. Your trading day will probably be enhanced by taking advantage of that. The chat back up properly. Go Rocky, thanks Duo. That's brilliant, thanks Jimmy. My cheeks are on fire. Good work, nice one. Squats with you guys is my main deliberate exercise each day. Quality, that's fantastic, that's fantastic. This is brilliant. Raising each other up, everybody, the rising tide, raising each other up. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for being a part of that and for doing that. I think it's just so incredibly good and positive. And you know what? Like, I need this, right? I need this so I don't actually fucking die. Right? So I need this. I need to be healthy. Okay, I need to, like, actually. So so you doing it for me, like, you know, it's part of it, you know, you saved my life, people. Go listen to GME DD Twitter Clubhouse call from Ken Griffin. He tried to say he plays Call of Duty. I'm not going to go and look at them because the GME DD guys are dicks. Sorry, they were dickheads to me in their community recently whenever I looked at their thing, so I'm not going to. the recent rise up in the Cardano price here. I mean, if anybody from that whole community wants to tell me to do it, you know, and advocate on behalf of them and say no, they're not, check it out. If anyone wants to second that from L4G Custom Fabrication, and thanks very much, man, for that thingy there, that one there. Thank you so much for that, man. If anybody wants to second L4G Custom Fabrication's request there, then no problem. But if anybody doesn't, because they think that the people in that community are just, or that, you know whatever, then you can also advocate against them. I don't mind. Don't fall out with each other though. This here consolidation, good place for it. You know, and in terms of the mentality here, Bollinger Bands, you know, what happens when you push outside of them? Well, there's a 95% chance that at the very least you're going to wick back down to wherever this second standard deviation point happens to be, the top band happens to be. Please don't die, Rocky Outcrop. The world needs you. Yeah, over there. I'm trying not to. So you know, this retrace was inevitable, kind of at a point. Then we broke back inside the Bollinger Band. Now we're kind of consolidating. So you can imagine that if we were to drop down below a certain level here, that might increase our chances of needing to revisit the 20 period simple moving average at the median line of the Bollinger Band by a significant degree. So I think that it's fair to say then, so long as we see the prices where they are, they're doing pretty good. The fact is as well that they've kind of moved a little bit in a trendy type fashion. We had these two lows coming in here. It was inside a parallel channel as it happens. We then went up the way and managed to put in a high, sorry, and then a higher low, and then a high at the minute. So this is a higher high, which is fantastic. And where else is it? It's outside of the parallel channel, right? We could come back down to retest this area if we need to. That would be the 618 golden pocket, and that would be an anticipated target should we actually push past the middle line of the Bollinger Band, which, you know, would be conceivable. Absolutely. And where we stand right now as a result of this high is right on that. See, I drew this Fibonacci in here to this line, so you can see that horizontal line is to the penny at the top of that wick, and then go on over to the left and you can see that closures up above. Sorry, I have to zoom out a bit again. Right, so you can see that the wick is, you know, taking us as high as we were before, but the closures so far have not succeeded in doing so. They've not succeeded in taking out that high quite yet. So the body closures are not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. Consolidation happening here. Moving up the way. That would be okay to see. Good place to take on rocket fuel. This also means that this high, which is extreme here, has managed to avoid being bearish, hidden bearish divergence. It's managed to avoid being hidden bearish divergence, which it would otherwise have been. And also, we've had the move, the measured move of our wedge here on the charts. Wow! Holy shit! That's some good TA. Yeah, it seriously was. It was rocking. It was rocking. You don't have to go GME DD. Just go to the Clubhouse call. They have it linked. Okay, cool. I'm on it now anyway. Should I read this? Am I on the right thing or not? Oh, this is just a load of shite on their page, isn't it? Just scroll forever shite. Right. L4G custom charts. I'll do that if you can get me a link to it directly. If you can get me a link to it directly, and I'll tell you what, buddy. In the meantime, where are you? In the meantime, you can. No, I'll not make it so you can. Right, just get me a link to that somehow, right? Or tell me the exact phrase to search that, so my brain doesn't have to think, if you don't mind. Or tell Jamie TradeSpotting in the chat there, and he'll get a link and he can send it to me directly or whatever. Yo ho, the Bel Air, eh? Nice to see you, matey. Good morning, Rocky. Question on XLRE. Recent Wyckoff upthrust, bull trap, wait for a retest. Thanks for your thoughts on the matter. Interesting stuff. So XLRE, bull trap, interesting. Recent, wait, what was the question? Morning question. Recent Wyckoff upthrust, bull trap, wait for retest. Thanks for your thoughts on. Right, so this is obviously on a bigger term time frame than this, or is it not? Right, I'm gonna get rid of the Bollinger Bands. Sometimes they distract me. Thanks, by the way, L4G Custom, for that donation, just to tell me that, by the way. I really do appreciate you. You know, I honestly, they treated me badly in there, and they are a bunch of dicks. Right, that's my impression, my personal expression, my personal experience of what happened when I went into that Discord group, which I'd been invited to. Now, the people who run GMEDD, they're not dicks. They really aren't. The nice ones that invited me to be part of their Discord group, they're fine. They're fine. But the community that they've built there is acerbic, and they're a bunch of dicks, and I hate them. So what can you do, eh? So I don't want to promote that community to people and expose anybody in my community to their community, or vice versa, because it's just this. Don't want any of that toxicity that comes in. And to be frank, you know, as somebody who runs a community, who's told on a daily basis, literally by more than one person, just how good the community is that I run, and I'm in there managing it and seeing that people don't fall out and that there's nothing in, and the amount of positivity in there, and I know what work it takes to make a positive community, and I know how it goes, and I've done it, and I've got experience of doing it, I've been doing it for years, then I can talk very, 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 very clearly on that. While the people who run it themselves are not in and of themselves dicks, that they've gone and made a dickhead community, and it's their fault, and I'm not going to promote it. So I mean, that's all. I'm actually going to promote. I actually will proactively talk negatively about them anytime it comes up, because, you know, it's on them. They shouldn't have done that. Right, so first off, mate, yep, it's a, you know, we're below the 236 right here. If you're thinking about this in terms of just like looking at the chart and the way that we've had this rise up, it would absolutely be fair to say that the movement down below the 382 in this zone just here was a bear trap, and that we've got trappy situations. You know, this is a bull trap here, this was like a bear trap here, and this would be like a bear trap here as well, I would have thought. It's debatable as to whether or not those other ones were. I wouldn't particularly have thought so. This one here is a bear trap. Now, is this whole thing a bull trap? What with the sort of the Wyckoff type distribution here, that's gone down the way, and that this, you know, that's the killer bull trap. But this whole movement a bull trap, and now that we're down here, quite possibly, and it's going to come into a couple of degrees of how you look at it. Are we going to get it past this point and recover up the way, and are we going to and you know, where do we need to go first? Well, obviously there's this area right here, but just on a sort of smaller term basis, and sticking with Fibonacci to do this, going from that high right there, if I just kind of line up, come on, move hand, that's better, right, and then down to here, you can see, well, you can already see that that right here and right now, we're experiencing resistance at this zone. You'd be looking then and asking, you know, are we going to be doing this in here? If we are, that sucks balls in terms of the continuation, because consolidation here just wouldn't be very good for what has otherwise been a nice downward trend in price action here. So, you know, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't, if you're bearish on this, you wouldn't want to see it kind of, you know, just kind of messing around so much. But at least you'd be happier than that, than it going directly up the way. The resistance just here is real. The downward movement here overall is also real in this section, and then the crucial turnaround point really for us is going to be, you know, in terms of like, is there any chance of extracting value beyond this point here? You know, is in there at 47.90, so there might be that. So scrolling back up to see I didn't miss L4G custom. Traceone, it's hilarious. He says GameStop could do transformation with Cohen, but then he says he doesn't walk into a store. Their Twitter. Okay, man, I'll go check their Twitter. GMEDD Twitter 20 minutes or so ago. Okay, cool. Excellent stuff. Right, sweet. Right, you've got it there. Tubes Plasma, thanks so much, man. YouTube link and transcript are here. Cool, excellent. I've got you on that. I'll copy that. I just went there, did I? Right, cool. And I'm also going to delete your message, man, with the best, all the best, you know, on that front, you know, but just so that people don't navigate away from this video, you know. I don't mind if people navigate from this video if they're doing something like Christy suggests in there, by join the best trading community on Discord, you know, go over and join the Patreon. You'll get a notification up on screen, it'll all be good. But but the other links, you know, I don't like people sharing other links. Why is this happening? I'll just go Reddit. Okay, cool, excellent. Here's this one.
One is, how do you think about the, you know, why, if you could be so great at asset management, why do this other thing as well? And the other is, I mean, what has been the secret to success? And I know it's technology.
Right. Just before we get in and listen to this thing, auto-generated transcript. One is, how do you think about the, right, this auto-generated, so we're not going to get any explanation of names or anything in here. Who is that dude speaking? You know, what's going on here? Who is that? Whose voice is that? That didn't sound like Ken Griffin's voice to me, but maybe it was. And I'm surprised that Ken Griffin sounds like a 24-year-old. But maybe he does. It's not how I remember him. It's not how it's not what I hear when I see his face moving. But maybe it is. So I don't know who these people are as management. But is that Ken Griffin? Who is that speaking? Let me know. What are we listening to here? What are we listening to here in this one? Just give us some context, right? So that people watching along, and then I can read it out, and then we can go back to talking about that. I'll continue on with this for just here, and I'll also read for just this minute. Thanks so much, by the way, and we'll get around to talking about that. I hope everybody's cool with the way I've been handling the show today. Grudges kill X Romeo and Juliet. Oh, that's not actually true though, eh? They killed themselves. And you know what that was? That's the you know, adolescence kills. You know. Oh, I finally understand the metaphor of the fishing dude. Ericsson, man, you do at last. Good, nice one, man. Excellent. Your community isn't just good; it's seriously the best. Thanks so much, Amber. Well, I mean, try to do that. You know, I think that if you set out to do that, then you can. And if you don't, and you set out to like extract value from the world, you know, and whatever, then you end up with something that's just not positive. So there you go. Like, these things happen. Show me one streamer is connected to their viewers as me. Oh, hey. That's me. No, Ronaldo Moreno. There you go. There's one. and I would say that's true. Oh, I can actually pin one of these links, by the way. I'll just pin that link up there. Thanks for that, Christy. Thank you. See this from people. See this one, people. It's past 3:30 p.m. So if you want me to do any technical analysis on anything at all, then given the length of this video, 27 minutes, I'll stay on till the end of this video just for the crack, right? But if you want me to take a look at anything, it has to be right now, because after this, it's done for, right? For my own personal interest, because I've got a while to go here. Let's just see how things have gone on this front so far today. Again, bang, at that point there, suffered at the 236. It's just time and time again, isn't it? So let's hope that we actually do consolidate. As you can see, the main goal for us here with this movement is to be between these two white lines, and effectively we're not there. You know, effectively, whatever, we're not there at the minute, but this has been this is good. This has been good so far. It's been good so far. The volume on the negative side is so low. Look how much it's gone down compared to that. So when you consider that to get the volume to go up loads, right, it had to be buy. Tons of people were selling into this green volume, this candle, to make it actually require that amount of volume to push it up. Tons of people were sold into it, and then here we have tons of people selling, or hardly anyone selling this down. See this? Really low volume and big price movement. Okay, so interesting stuff, probably, in terms of in terms of whether or not people had actually ever looked at those sorts of dynamics before, and you're talking about volume, etc. So, you know, just to reiterate that again, big volume candle here, not big, but you know, it's a volume candle, and it's you know, larger than the prior ones, etc. in this area here. And then this volume, this price movement candle here, big movement, bigger than this one, for example, down the bottom there, and tiny volume so far on that front. So while buyers are willing to buy it at certain areas and sellers are more than willing to sell into that, then the sellers come along, you know, it's the waiting, and it's the when the buyers kick in again, then maybe we'll see how it goes. But these sellers here, pushing the price down with so little value to themselves in doing so, makes me wonder if people are just kind of waiting for the opportunity. So if we just zoom in a wee bit more, 5-minute time frame, and okay, cool. So I've got that positioned wrongly there. 618 golden pocket, brilliant. So the buyers, brilliant. In fact, the buyers waiting, just like, okay, cool, just you do your thing, you do your thing, okay, from here, like, or whatever. Hopefully, right? Or at least, like, we'll see. This is the first time there's been any sort of positivity in the last 10 minutes on this one, while we put in these two relatively low volume candles at low volume bars down the bottom as we've done that movement. Now can we push up afterwards from this area, having waited for a better value entry? You know, does that make sense? It makes sense to me, but it's like the but that was the least of where we could have gone to when people were so unwilling to challenge the downward movement. Anyway, we can, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to rise from there, but I mean, it's doing it so far, so that's good. What do I else want to look at for my own interest before I go off of this stuff today? I can look at it at my own time, it'll be all right. So, oh no, actually no, there was PCT, and there's banana I wanted a stock to take a look at as well. PCT, oh, it's suffered, hasn't it? Here. What happened on this one? What did I say about it? I don't know what I said about it, but looking at these lines on the charts, when would I have done this actually? This is a daily chart. This is a 4-hour time frame, so I must have been here in the last couple of days, right? It must have been. What was I trying to say here? That this is like a... What would I have been trying to say on this one? Obviously must have been explaining a whole bunch. That's a higher movement there. This, can we defend this? Defending this for a higher low would be kind of crucial. There's Fibonacci line, right, you know, right bang on where the price point is right now, and there for us to be getting supported at. Resisted here at what was otherwise, you know, which is the 236 off of a big movement. So somewhere that I think, which is somewhere that we want to see the prices actually do push past. Oh, it's a 382. Oh, this is the different colored one. This is a confusing one. Oh, we're just trying to defend the 236 just now. Well, we want to remain this. This is the bigger one that we're trying to defend, right? So that's the so we want it. We really do want to see this be defended. And we got something down here to drag us down, like, though. Yeah, no, the markets are ready to defend this, I think. Hopefully. So what was also, so AVX, I didn't actually catch whether or not you wanted me to take a look at AVXUSDT or not, but we can and just have a quick look and see. Okay, well, this area at being very crucial remains very crucial, you know. So this nice, we've moved up there. This is lower, be very aware. This high was higher than this high. We've now dropped back down. We need to make this be our high. This is the point I was making before with regards to whatever that stock was, that you know, if we were to go up higher, then great and everything else, but this was a lower high as part of a downward movement. This would be a high as part of an upward movement, and obviously, you know, trending is higher highs and higher lows and whatever else, and we need to be, you know, being above this area here in of itself is being higher than a lower high, and that doesn't come into that phrase of what's the trend. Lower highs, and lower lows, that's a downtrend. Higher highs and higher lows, that's an uptrend. Higher high versus lower high, what's that? What paradigm are you talking about when you talk about that? Kangaroo market maybe, or something, right? So not trending. So yeah, so defending here would be good. Where else are we in the world of Tezos at the minute? All right, have we made it up here yet? Oh, we've come back down. Did we fill in a different time frame gap on this one? I think maybe we were talking about this at the time. You can see here that this box is now lining up with another flash on there, and that the price point so far is defended at the 618, which is also where we had this last inflection, which is also where our last high is. So really this is quite a good area to be at for us to get that bounce at. It's a good one, but again, like I said before already, that if we did want to go in for a higher low and you know, painfully do this in a slow process, which happens very frequently, then you're looking down towards 450 before actually going up the way. At the minute we're doing okay. Cheers Rocky, thank you for your amazing streams. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I'll just bring up the chat now. So I think I've covered everything that I need to cover in terms of like stuff like that. Here, I'll just go take a look at Bitcoin from a crypto creeps. How you doing, pals? Where are we here on this one? 56k. So whatever drawings these are is kind of happening at the minute. Where did we get to? Not quite as low as that. You know, this is lower than our previous low. It's not divergent on that. That was a higher low. That's not a fair comparison. This down here, that was divergent. This here is lower than its high, and it's hidden bearish divergence. Is it? Yeah, so there's hidden bearish divergence. This high just here, this was hidden bearish divergence. So it speaks very poorly for trend. If we actually do take out this low here, then of course, you know, your trend, your likely target is going to be 49. If we actually take out 53, okay, so there's a $4 or $5 grand movement between these two targets if that happens. Whereas towards the top side, well, whatever, we're just looking for continuation. We want to see a higher high next after we get this higher, if this is a higher low. So yeah, that's enough of that on there. I don't think anybody's asked me for anything in that time. You know, we don't have time left to do any free ones, so that's cool. And we can take, unless there's anything I've missed and somebody really wants it, then you can let me know. But I'm going to go back over to the chat now and try and find the context of this conversation, if you did mention what it was for us, right? So just show me thingy, like watch this every morning before my list, and then tune in to TradeSpawn in the afternoon. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you so much, man. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And well done to you for inspiring people with you know, with your attitude, mate. That's really good. So let's just see if I missed that chat from people. Chris Sweeney asked if you can pay for the course in crypto and check your ADA1UP address while it is working. Also asked what was you can add other payment plan for more than 3 months. Okay, cool. We'll try and do that. We'll try and see if that's a thing that you can do. I don't know 100%. I don't know if that's I honestly, I'll have to look into that, and I'll hopefully have those answers for you by TradeSpot and stream later on today. But I'm not going to, I'm not going to make the 100 people watching or whoever it is that is right now wait as I go and try and find out that information. I can't off the top of my head, and then is, you know, to do it on stream. I can tell you after, but there's something, and I'll tell people in the future as well as we do further streams in the future. Thanks. Is the falling wedge in GME bullishly divergent? Was that question that came in from Chris as well? GME. We're talking about in this region here, different time frame, presumably it makes that more like a wedge. You know, the thing about it is, mate, it's a really good question, but this is worth pointing out that on that time frame it isn't, then therefore it's also most likely not a wedge. 1 hour time frame. This was divergent. This part isn't. Hide the drawings here. This, if I stretch this out, this wedge here I mean, it's you really were always being pushing that into you know, pushing that case for that one to be a wedge. If you use these two kind of the wick highs, wick low here, and connected it up, which is what's determining this sort of type of stuff here, then sure, possibly. But now this low here versus all these other lows being lower, that's not bullishly divergent. So I wouldn't say so. And are we on a sort of, maybe is it a really, really small time frame type thing that you were asking about in terms of, I would say that the chances are no, not really. On the RSI, yes. With these lows, if this on the small term time frame, really, really small, if we're talking 5 minute time frame style stuff, then possibly. If we're talking like 1 hour time frame style stuff, then you know, just no, not so much. This was before, and now, you know, in the last sort of, you know, day, it's kind of, that's just kind of gone against it. So yeah, the chat, this is what I had up. I only have socks and my unreasonable land tea, but I still tweet something. Hey, cool. Chris Sweeney asked if you can pay for the course in crypto. Cool. And my Cardano address, right? My Cardano address. I can't test this on stream either. The chances of me fucking something up and putting out personal details, the time it would take for me to get in and log in, do 2FA on my phone, put that address on there, it's totally inappropriate for me to try and do this on stream. But but you know, there's my OneUpCoin donation address, and you can give it a shot with like a tiny amount of it. It should work, and they can see if it works, and then afterwards, you know, we'll know if it works or not. If the link should be like, you know, this should be the, that should be the link, I think, that people would use. So there's that. Holdberg is quite suggestive now on what was, sorry, my chat, see how it jumps like that. GME 173, damn it. Rocket Crop Trace Spot, and you guys are scary good at TA, it freaks me out. This is something I'm passionate about, and I've dedicated my life to, and I put a great deal of care into the community that I work with, and try to work with people, and we talked about this for quite a while being possible to happen. It's not the first time that something like this has happened on the show. Now of course this doesn't mean that it's going to end here, blah 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 blah, but you know, we've talked about this a lot on the show, and it's really, honestly, it's not worth falling out with anybody on Twitter or anything. It's really not worth falling out with anybody on Twitter. Like, I know how good I am. I feel a little bit, I mean, in all honesty, you know, I'm a little bit like, why does the channel not grow? You know, why does the channel not grow? Why do I not get any subscribers? You know, a little bit like, you know, I would expect that from one show to the next, that maybe if 100 people tuned in one day, maybe 105 or 100, you know, would maybe tune in the next, and that you'd look back after a month and you'd see, oh look, now we're getting 200, now we're getting 250, now we're getting 300, and instead the numbers have just been going down and down and down and down and down and down and down. But you know, it's not worth arguing with somebody on the internet about how good we are at TA. I know how good I am. The people who come back and choose to tune in know what the value is like here. you all know, I mean, like the likes of Chris, who was asking about whether that is bullishly divergent. Was it yourself or was it the other Chris? I'm not I mean, off the top of my head, was talking with me about these things when the prices were 200 and trying to ask, you know, like what I meant when I was explaining about how the prices, if they were to go up, and I was saying, well, if they did go up, we're experiencing so much volatility and whatever else, it wouldn't be. It was a very complex thing that I was trying to explain about about how, despite the fact that it was absolutely possible for the prices to go up from 200 and it totally was possible to happen and everything else, that really, you know, I was waiting for 171.50, and I was like, well, and I've talked about this so many times that I don't wait for 171.50. It would have been 173, 175, and I've talked about this for months, right? And it's bounced from there, and I'm here doing a live show, and I don't have the opportunity to go and buy this. Well, I do have the opportunity to go and buy this, but I don't, because I'm doing a live show here. I'm not doing the I'm here to help you, not here to help myself, you know. And that's, don't fall out with anybody. They're not worth it. They're not worth it. Okay, they're not worth it. Don't fall out with anybody about it. The value here is very real. I don't know why the channel doesn't grow. I really don't know why it doesn't grow. That's very odd to me. But don't follow anybody on the internet with it and everything. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary good, man. Scary good. Scary good. My TA is scary good. I scare myself with how good my TA is constantly. And it's been that way for a while. It's amazing. Yeah, scary good. Predicting the future. So much so I made an indicator. Yeah, I made an indicator. Look, manage access. These people here that are showing up in red haven't managed to get enough out of the indicator as yet to upgrade to the paid one, which is a shame for them, but whatever, you know, life. All those ones that are the dates February on there, you guys are lucky. You've got it to February for free. You know, I gave away this thing for free. That was me giving away $10,000 of value a month to people for free till February, right? $10,000 of value a month to people till February. That's what I'm doing over here on the channel. I don't know why it doesn't grow, right? I don't know why the channel doesn't grow. I give my heart and soul and everything for it. 178. And I didn't get to buy that either. Not that I care. Not that I care. Just showing you. I mean, I could have put in a limit order. You know, and whatever else. It's not like I'm saying you can't do these things and whatever else. It's just that this is an example. I mean, I actually do have limit orders in that in this one. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine in that. But this is constant. You know, this is constant. When I say people like I'm here and I could be doing really good things just purely for myself by giving my energy up for something else. And I want it to grow, and I want it to be good. And it is growing, it is good, it is amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing. It is growing, it is good. Right, we're done with the chat now, I think, and everything else, and we'll just play this for the end of the thing. That's cool that that happened. We'll try and find out what the chat is with this, you know. But yeah, it is good, it is amazing. I care, you know. The quality of my TA is unquestionable, and I'm not, and I'm also really honest about why I'm here on YouTube, because I want to have a that's so we got a 21 out of that. Thanks so much for that. Tell me what it is that you want to name that ticker bingo ball as, and we'll also try and sort out Space Banana, and you know, Sauce Food Cart. You know, I got my diary here. Where is it? Where can I show you this here on this screen? I got my diary here of 2022. So I'm not quite ready to using it yet, but I was going to use it today, but I have to forgot to bring a pen over with me to the table. Let me know, Shakar. You can name a ball for the ticker bingo machine. KP, I hope you're well, man. Long day. I was chatting to you this morning, which was last night for me. Hope you're doing well. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, look. Right. Sorry. Yes. I just a split second of emotion, but got a bit emotional for a second there. Yeah. I care an awful lot about what I do. I could be doing other stuff, but I'm here doing this because I genuinely care, and I have much love for you all, and I'm also very honest and transparent about my reasons for doing all this sort of stuff and what I want from it and where I want my life to go. And the people in the community are very, very warm and generous and kind, and they also want that for me. And this is a really good place to be. I don't know why the channel doesn't grow, but that doesn't matter. What we're doing here is something special anyway. And that's all good. I think we should leave charts on Rocky Outcrop. Should make himself a cup of tea and keep GME and AMC on screen, and I'll pop round and drop off his package, and then he can open it on stream. Oh, right. Well, that's cool. Well, then I'll make a cup of tea and I can play this here thing and everybody can listen to it then. Okay, cool, okay. That's okay, cool. That's great, nice one. Quality. Hard times only last so long. Your channel will see amazing growth, and it's not hard times, by the way. Just to be very, very clear, this is not hard time, man. Let me just be very, very clear to everybody. This year has been one of the most amazing years of my life. Okay, it's been one of the most amazing years of my life by a long way. This is not hard times. There's nothing like hard times. This is the most amazing experience of my life. Yeah, Luke, you're so generous, man. Luke, this guy, by the way, everybody should know this guy's name, Luke Spears. He's an incredibly generous, really, really kind person. Look, this is the best year of my life in so many ways, and it's not hard times. Last year, 2020, starting off the channel and you know, getting to my birthday, and somebody donated me $100, and it made me cry because I couldn't, you know, I just couldn't cope with it, because you know, going the whole year, and I earned a grand total of $2,000, and that was hard times. This year, no, that's not. So thanks very much to everybody. Hi, Jimmy. So yeah, did you read inside this who it is that's talking on this video thing, and then I can tell people who it is, and then I'll let it play and have a cup of tea? Yeah, that's in the video. Who's the voice? The whole way. Yeah, who's the other person? I would just, yeah, but yeah, yeah, who it is? Does anybody? Well, I mean, it would matter if it was like Vlad. It would, you know, it's interesting who he's talking to. Yeah. There's a package. Alright, it's to Jimmy.
Direct off because I'd only seen that before. It seemed like it was to you.
No, it's hearts to me, but that's to you.
Over that. Yeah.
You should open it up on screen. You should. Here's Jimmy, everybody.
Yeti.
Good to see you, Yeti, man. Where's this thing? Oh, that way. And go with this chat. The screen. Hold on. Yes. Oh. Hey. So Jimmy's here.
Hi, everybody. How are you all today? Have we enjoyed price action?
Price action?
I got a delivery. It's from Donna. And it's got this chart. Lovely parabolic move.
That's quite cool.
Oh, yeah?
What is this? Oh, wow. Well, what is this? That's cool.
Found this while I was clearing out my Tussamerid Basement. Thought of you immediately. Thought you might appreciate it, because I appreciate you. Cheers. Donna. Haha, look, and it's got me on the back.
Excellent stuff. That's so cool. That's so cool. It's been a long time since I've seen that. I think we probably would have had a copy of that, like
Bye, Donna.
at some point in our lives.
That's nice.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's so cool. That was a cool experience. Excellent. Nice one. And it said love to Rocky on the back of it as well. That's nice. Right, I'll stick this thing on here. I'll take myself off screen for a wee while. My show's effectively over, right? I mean, it really is, right? But I'll be back. What?
You keep saying things to make people tune out.
I'm not making people tune out.
Just put on the charts of the GME as well up. Pulling the gap at 171. You've never had so many people watching all week.
Have I not?
No.
This is amazing. Well, put the charts on and stuff. Right, great. Well, I'll play the audio. I'm not my talking part of the show is I'm going to stop talking for a while. Jimmy doesn't like it when I sound like I'm saying that I'm tuning out, but the thing is like the there you go.
Go into a little bit more of that. One is, how do you think about the, why, if you could be so great at asset management, why?
Actually, no, I'm wrong, because I'm going to comment on this thing. I'm not going to play this thing the whole way through. If they say something interesting or whatever, then I can comment, probably, aye. But I'm not going to be on screen is what I meant, really. I'm going to take myself off the screen.
Why do this other thing as well? And the other one is, what has been the secret to success? I mean, I know it's technology, but if you can go into a little bit more, that would be great.
So, first of all, I think it's important to be clear that our asset management.
That's his voice. I knew it was his voice.
That sounds like such a fanny. That's definitely Kenny G. What's your fanny? Straight up fanny noises coming out there.
There's such a really nice, relaxing looking picture in the background for it as well. It's so funny that
Business is driven mostly by our performance fees, which are our profit sharing with our investors.
Right, because I have to mute myself. Yeah, because I have to mute myself and whatever else. Your interruptions are incredibly, incredibly not useful. Sorry, man. I don't mean to be so passionately saying it, but honestly, I have to mute myself here, so I'm just going to do that just now.
So when our investors make money, we make money, and when our investors don't make money, we get paid very little. And this alignment with our clients puts us in a position to be laser-like focused on both identifying opportunities and managing the risks of the portfolio. So unlike most of your traditional asset managers, we're in a very different business in terms of having to be just continually focused on how do you have in the marketplace a competitive advantage in identifying mispriced assets and opportunities around the world. So that brings us back to the core of our market making business, which is around predictive analytics. In the hedge fund, we spend an incredible amount of time forecasting where we think, for example, the price of natural gas will be in the United States, where the 10-year bond yield will be a month forward. Think about that mindset of forecasting future prices and bring it into a very short-term horizon, say the next, and then apply those forecasts in thinking about how you manage the risk inherent in a portfolio that is given to you in your capacity of providing liquidity to the marketplace. So at 100,000 feet, we're in the forecasting business. And in the hedge fund, our forecasts tend to be forecasts that are measured over weeks or months. And in the market making business, those forecasts are thought of as being measured in the course of minutes, hours, or days. But at the core of both of these businesses is very much a focus on predicting what the future will be. So, for example, in the market making business, you'll see technologies like machine learning being used to build your forecasts of future stock returns.
Got it. Good. So let's dive right into GameStop. So kind of, if I'm going to start just by because GameStop was a little while ago, so I'm going to just do a quick. There's a little blurb here on Wikipedia, and I just start by saying I don't represent. By no means do I represent what's on Wikipedia as the truth, but rather just sort of as an expression of kind of the gestalt of the commentary.
especially around that time, and just to kind of refresh people who have kind of fuzzed out on the details. So, January 25th, it was announced that Griffin Citadel would invest $2 billion into Melvin Capital, which was the hedge fund that had suffered losses more than 30% on its short positions, particularly on GameStop. On January 28th, Robinhood, an electronic trading platform favored by many traders involved in buying GameStop stocks and options, which, by the way, my firm's involved in, abruptly announced that it would halt all purchases of GameStop securities except to cover shorts, and would only allow those securities to be sold if already held but not sold short. So in other words, Robinhood cut off basically the ability for the retail traders who were torturing GameStop and Melvin Capital at the time from being able to trade. The price of GameStop stock declined steeply shortly thereafter, because Robinhood receives a substantial portion of its revenue through a payment for order flow relationship with Citadel Securities LLC. Many commentators criticize the potential for a conflict of interest where the same entity plays the role of market maker and also participates in the market that it makes. And of course, in this case, also was a major investor in the hedge fund on the other side of the GameStop situation. So I wanted to start, and obviously, please critique any of that that's false. But just more generally, I would love to hear, and I know everybody would, kind of from your perspective, basically, like what happened? Like, what is the true story of what happened during that period?
So, in broad strokes, Melvin Capital was short a variety of stocks that became of interest to rather savvy and sophisticated retail investors who realized that the amount of stock short was just disproportionately large relative to average daily trading.
Mm-hmm.
And these retail investors, realizing that there were these unduly sized short positions in the marketplace, started to buy these stocks that caused the hedge funds that were short these stocks to start to incur losses. And, when firms are losing money, they almost reflexively start to cut their own risk.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, they start to cover their shorts, and you end up in this reflexive pattern that as retail's buying the stock, pushing it higher, the hedge funds that are short are covering their shorts, pushing the same stock price higher, and this virtuous circle becomes incredibly painful for the hedge fund managers that are short the securities of interest. And we saw this virtuous circle playing out in the marketplace. And on the day that we invested in Melvin, we thought that this had run its.
Did you hear that little Freudian slip that came in there from him? Let's just go back and listen. You know the phrase vicious circle? A vicious circle, a sequence of reciprocal cause and effect in which two or more elements intensify and aggravate each other, leading inexorably to a worsening of the situation, versus like this other one. A recurring cycle of events, the result of each one being to increase the beneficial of the next, and that, or whatever. And then I'm saying here,
it becomes incredibly painful for the hedge fund managers that are short the securities of interest. And we saw this virtuous circle playing out in the marketplace. And on the day that we invested in Melvin, we thought that this had run its course.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it was very clear in the morning of the day that we made the investment that this short squeeze was apparently dying down.
Mm-hmm.
And we invested money into Melvin to take advantage of the fact that a number of their shorts had become very inflated in price, and we expected those prices to revert in due course, and we'd have made a successful investment.
Right.
And at that moment, the world changed. We had the social media landscape with some very important influencers really lit up on the story of GameStop as being a stock to get long and to ride to the moon.
Yep.
And Melvin continued to cover their short very aggressively over probably the next 48 hours, give or take. I can't remember the exact timing of this. Now, ironically, I'm almost certain that Melvin had covered their entire short before the 28th. In fact, they put out a press release. The press release would give the exact timing of it. I don't recall that off the back of my hand, but I'm pretty certain that by the time that Robinhood stopped trading on the 28th, Melvin had already covered their short and moved on.
And basically just taking the losses would be the way to think about that, right?
Yeah, they'd taken their loss and they moved on.
Yeah.
I mean, part of what good risk managers do is when they're wrong and they can't understand what's taking place in the marketplace, they take it on the chin, they take their loss, and they move on. Now, Robinhood had a distinctly different problem than Melvin had. They had a problem of too much success. Robinhood had opened accounts with millions of retail investors who, seeing this price dynamic playing out in GameStop, seeing some of the really important influencers in financial markets advocating the purchase of GameStop, we saw an absolute deluge of retail buyers of GameStop unlike anything I think the markets have ever seen before. The problem this created for Robinhood is this very concentrated position of buying required them to post good faith margin with the clearinghouse that everybody on Wall Street uses. And I believe that good faith collateral requirement was order of magnitude $3 billion.
Yeah, that's right.
Of cash.
Yep.
And Robinhood simply didn't have $3 billion of shareholders' equity to draw on to post that margin. And so, because of their incredible success, they needed to restrict trading at that very moment in time where I'm certain they would have wanted to continue to trade to gather the revenues associated with trading, but they couldn't because they had to let some of those purchases work their way through the settlement cycle to release the demands for cash collateral. And of course, as you know, Robinhood was out trying to raise capital at that moment in time to generate more cash to give them the flexibility to make the margin calls that they had to make.
Yeah, and in fact, you may know our firm participated in that round in that sort of
calls that they had to make. Cash out trying to raise capital at that moment in time to generate more cash to give them the flexibility to make the margin calls that they had to make.
Yeah, and in fact, you may know our firm participated in that round in that sort of injection.
And I'm certain that was a successful investment for your firm.
Yeah, that was good. There's a couple of kind of claims that have kind of went viral around that time that I think probably are still kind of still circulate around. So yeah, one is this kind of idea, so this idea that on the one hand you've got this relationship with Melvin Capital where
Do you remember how I was explaining in the Hood Technical Analysis section how you've got this IPO of a company and then you have people and they're distributing it, and I jokingly said that's called shitting on your face. Let's just hear this guy's, you can hear the micro expressions in this guy's voice as he talks to Ken Griffin about how his investment in Robinhood and whatever was good. And we can look at the Hood chart and you can see how that shitting in your face experience has led to this guy smiling at the end of his sentence here. So you can just hear this happen.
that was good.
Certain purchases.
Yeah, and in fact, you may know our firm participated in that round in that sort of injection.
And I'm certain that was a successful investment for your firm.
Yeah, that was good. There's one is this kind of idea. So this idea that on the one hand you've got this relationship with Melvin Capital where you're now a big investor, on the other hand you've got this relationship with Robinhood, where they get a lot of their revenue from for payment for order flow through through your market maker, and so there's this perception developed that you're kind of sitting in the middle of this web and kind of pulling strings, and then there's this kind of shadowy consortium or whatever they call it in the background, and they're issuing this overnight demand for money, and that's presumably like somehow rigged up by Wall Street. So like how do you kind of process through, like like what was your reaction to kind of finding yourself in the spotlight on that kind of thing, and how do you kind of process through trying to explain to people what the reality of the situation was?
Well, I have to say that processing conspiracy theories is not one of our core competencies.
Mm-hmm.
So we were a bit slow out of the gate to dispute this ridiculous set of claims, just given like we don't find ourselves in the middle of conspiracy theories very often.
What a facetious arsehole.
Just out of the gate to dispute this ridiculous set of claims, just given like we don't find ourselves in the middle of conspiracy theories very often.
That's so funny. Another guy in the background.
So as a large market maker, in fact, the largest market maker in the market in late January, in GameStop, in AMC, in the other meme stocks, we were very interested in seeing the continuation of trading both buys and sells. One-way flow is a really difficult proposition for a market maker.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is you've got one-way flow. So if people keep selling you stock, you keep accumulating inventory. What are you going to do? You make your money as a market maker from the bid-ask spread of buying and selling, getting into and out of a security over the course of a day.
Mm-hmm.
So we, as a market maker, were the largest market maker in this period in late January because of our operational capacity to take on the operational risk and capital demands that were inherent in this incredible increase in participation by retail investors.
Mm-hmm.
So in contrast to Robinhood, we had the financial strength to meet our collateral calls. We had the operational bandwidth to meet the demands of the marketplace on our business.
Mm-hmm.
And then with respect to Melvin, as I spoke about it earlier,
mm-hmm.
Their short in GameStop was, to the best of my knowledge, like already gone or virtually gone. It wasn't even in our minds on the day of the 28th. Didn't even think about it. And so the fact that people made that connection ex post was certainly not a connection that I'd made a priori.
Got it. Right. So you weren't sitting there thinking we have to optimize the value of this investment we just made in Melvin Capital.
No.
Okay. And then there's two just absolutely and then I want to let Alex ask more detailed questions, but there's just two things that are just that I actually learned. I knew kind of intellectually, but there's something I knew intellectually, but didn't realize kind of emotionally or viscerally until I saw it happen, which is you can't, if you are short a stock, if you're a fund and you're short a stock, you cannot, and Ken, correct me if this is wrong, you can't close out that short without delivering that stock, right? Which is to say, like, I can't, if I'm short whatever and it's whatever, I offer you $100 to close out the position, $500 to close out the position, $1,000 to close out the position, $10,000 to close out the position. I can't close out the position without the actual share of stock because because basically there's in theory potentially a limited downside if the stock keeps rising. Is that technically true?
So for 99.99% of the situations, of which this was one of that 99.99, you had to buy the actual shares back if you were short and trying to cover your short.
Mm-hmm.
So for all intents and purposes, one should view if somebody's short a stock, they're going to have to one day buy those shares back in the marketplace as a regular way trade.
Mm-hmm. By the way, just out of curiosity, what's the 0.01% exception?
I sometimes professionals over the years, I've seen people willing to settle a short for cash in lieu, but that's almost always the context of things like tender offers for a company.
Okay. Right.
So if a company's being bought for for cash, let's call it, General Electric's going to buy a company, they're going to pay $24 a share. once the tender closes, if you were short that stock, since the tender's closed, the company's been bought, you can, under those circumstances, settle your liability for cash.
But and what you're describing is a particular kind of bounded situation with presumably minimal risk. In contrast,
yes, the shares are gone, the company's been bought, and how do you wrap up that contractual situation amongst the parties?
Right. But if there's unlimited potential future downside, you can't get a counterparty who will settle you out for anything short of the actual stock.
If one of the challenges that you have as a short seller is your risk is unbounded.
Right.
And so that's why when people are constructing portfolios of longs and shorts, their short positions tend to be much smaller than their long positions on a relative basis, because the risk on the short side's unbounded in comparison to the risk on the long side positions.
And then that leads to the second thing, which I called up the GameStop stock price. I get the terms GameStop stock and stonk confused in my head all the time now. But the GameStop stock price, we're sitting here now, almost a year later, and it's still the market cap of the stock price is still $179 a share, which is up, it's up 1,000% from a year ago. And the market cap of the company is almost $14 billion. And if you look at the chart, it's not quite, it's not at the all-time high that it got during the truly crazy period, but it's not that far off. It kind of peaked out at over 300 and it's still at 179. It certainly hasn't fallen back to where it started. Are you surprised that, and I guess, but I guess the logical implication of that is there are still, the suggestion I think that price might be telling us is there are still funds out there that are short that haven't been able to buy back, and the Reddit horde is still torturing them, or is there some other explanation for, or maybe the company's, by the way, much better, right? Is the other possibility. But are you surprised that stock has held up? Because I think a lot of the commentary at the time was obviously this thing is going back to near zero.
Well, I think it's an incredibly complicated situation. First of all, the management team of the company did a great job of buying back its own stock, ballpark 2 years ago at much, much lower prices. Mm-hmm. So the company bet on its own future and bought back a fair number of shares. I think it was in the single dollars per share back, roughly 2 years ago. And that's in rough strokes. I'm not a GameStop expert per se, but my memory serves me right. That's what they did about 2 years ago. And then there's been the rise of a significant new investor, the founder of Chewy, mm-hmm. and he has an incredible reputation as being an entrepreneur. Yep. And of really understanding how to connect with the consumer in a profound way in an e-commerce environment. And if somebody's going to figure out how to turn GameStop into a successful e-commerce based platform, he'd be behind the list of people to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the question. Can they pivot from a huge footprint of stores around the world with a relatively high cost of distribution to an e-commerce led company with a broader mandate that's able to engage the consumer in a profoundly different way? And the market price today reflects people's views on that very same question. Yep. The current short position in the stock is actually quite trivial compared to what it was just a year and change ago. Mm-hmm. Virtually all the short players are long since gone from this name. They've given up trying to understand how to price GameStop with the founder of Chewy at the helm.
Yeah. If you look at the 5-year chart, it looks, pardon the metaphor, it literally looks like a corpse that suddenly came back to life. It's just this flat sag for 4 years, and then there's this crazy spike, during the Reddit drama, and then there's this kind of choppy, but fundamentally, as you said, kind of this kind of new normal, at least for the last 9 months.
The question here is, and I play my Xbox. Yep. I just got Call of Duty Vantage. I downloaded it.
Yep. I
didn't walk into a store.
Yep. Well, that was the presumption, right? Prior to the Reddit guys figuring out the short situation, right? That was the presumption, right?
That was the presumption. The presumption was right. The world was going to go to digital downloads so fast that GameStop would not be able to change its cost structure quickly enough to adapt to that brave new world, and they were going to meet the same fate as Blockbuster.
Yep.
Right. And Blockbuster actually dates you and I once again. Like videotapes to a lot of people are just like they see them in movies. They don't actually know that we actually went to Blockbuster and used to rent them.
Well, there's actually, Ken, there's a new Netflix movie coming out to pour salt in the wound. I think Netflix is making a movie. I think it might just have come out called the Last Blockbuster. And it's literally a movie about the last video rental store. So at long last, they've I think they're spiking the ball in the end zone. So
that is pretty funny. And so that's the question will the management team at GameStop find ways to connect the consumer that are different than what they were doing 3 or 4 years ago that create value for consumers for which they get paid to do?
Yeah, and then
go ahead.
Yeah. Good. Well, the reason I brought this up, the 5-year chart, is it goes to the point you made. I just want to explore one more level, which is, this is a situation, like, you can tell a very different story here. And the story basically is they had this, they were in trouble. Then they had this exogenous event caused by, the mechanics of the stock market. And then, to your point, like, they have seized, in the best case scenario, they've seized on the exogenous event to now construct a better future for themselves.
Oh, no doubt. And right. they raised a tremendous amount of capital,
right,
to create a war chest that gives them the flexibility to pursue a variety of different business strategies.
Yeah, and so it's like this unusual reverse move, though, where it's like and by the way, we see this in our business, and it's speculation creating reality, right? Like, potentially in a really positive way.
So the markets will judge that in retrospect.
Right.
Were the people that bought GameStop stock from the company over the course of the last year brilliant or not? And we'll find out based upon the success, the failures or success, the merits of where GameStop takes their business.
Yep. Good. Okay.
And by the way, that's what makes America's capital markets work. Differences of opinion drive our capital markets. Just remember, a few months ago, Hertz was left for dead in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
They were in bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to raise money in the stock market, and the SEC said, you can't do an offering. You're bankrupt.
Yep.
Right? And now Hertz is this incredible success story.
Yep.
So I think we have to all have some level of humility about our ability to forecast how any given company is going to progress, prosper, or fail.
Well, I think that's one of the great things here is that it turns out retail is very smart. Sometimes called retail dumb money, but actually, smart on Tesla, smart paradoxically on something like Hertz, which was bankrupt, and potentially smart on many of these others. One of my favorite things is if you Google Apple IPO Massachusetts, there's an article in the Wall Street Journal about how the state of Massachusetts, to protect the general public, banned their participation in the Apple IPO, which is, of course, now the biggest company in the entire world. So it turns out sometimes retail investors are smart. And, I would argue that right now it's a better time to be a retail investor than ever before.
I think it's always important to remember that a number of your retail investors they're intrinsically optimists. And when they see a great product run and a company run by an inspired CEO, they're willing to put their money on that. They're willing to believe in the future of America. They're willing to believe in the Tesla story.
Yep, and get rewarded appropriately, and motivate more entrepreneurs to build more companies like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good. Okay. Look, I would love to keep going. We have, we could go for hours on this, but we're coming close, Ken, to the end of your time. So I wanted to ask you about the other thing you've been in the headlines for recently in our world, as well as more generally, which is your purchase of the U.S. Constitution and your competition, and your just very narrow, I think, trouncing, but your trouncing of the Constitution DAO Web3 project that got a lot of attention. A consortium of Web3 crypto people that were trying to buy the same Constitution. So maybe tell us a little bit about that. How did that go down from your perspective?
So first of all, it didn't go down. The Constitution is one of the most sacred documents in the history of our country. And as many of you are aware, I have a great passion in governance, in public policy, in how to make sure that America stays the land of opportunity. It's incredibly important to me. It's a huge focus of my charitable activities is to broaden the safety net in America, to create opportunities for people to go to our finest schools, to ensure that America continues to be really that shining light on top of the hill. And so when that Constitution came up for sale, I actually saw it several weeks before the auction. And it's one of those moments I walked out of Sotheby's and told a friend, I'm like, I'm going to buy that.
Wow.
Because to own such an important part of the history of America, and really just the profound wisdom of the words transcribed on that paper by the thought leaders of our nation, that was truly important to me. And then nothing like seeing the Constitution DAO raise just a mind-blowing amount of money in a few days in front of the auction.
Mm-hmm.
And what a statement about community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am blown away by the passion of the community to come together to share this document with our country. And just as I will share this document with our country, I was really impressed to see so many Americans willing to put up money to make that happen as a reality. And so the night of the auction, you know, what I've learned over the years in auctions, simply the person willing to pay the most wins.
Yep.
There's no grandeur in being the winner at the auction. You're just willing to pay more. In fact, you might be saying you're the person willing to pay more than anybody else in the world at that moment in time. That's not always where you want to be in life.
Yep.
But I was fortunate enough to have the financial resources to acquire the Constitution. And as you're well aware, I've already committed to lending it to Crystal Bridges, where it will be shared with, hopefully over the next few years, millions of Americans. And Crystal Bridges is a really special place. It touches the Midwest in a profound way. It touches the South in a profound way. A huge number of the people that go to Crystal Bridges have never set foot into an art or history museum before in their lives. And to really share the American vision with so many people, I hope is an inspiration to our youth about the greatness of our country, about the greatness of our founding fathers. And we didn't get everything right, but we changed the world, and will inspire people to pursue both public service and to pursue how can they make America better.
Yep. When do you think, where exactly is that? And when do you think people will be able to go see that?
So it's going to Crystal Bridges. I don't have their opening date yet, but it will be early in 2022.
Got it. That's fantastic. That's great. Hopefully a lot of people go. I would love to go see that. Good. So I can't think of a better way to end the conversation, and we're right at 6. So Ken, want to thank you for your time and for getting into these exciting topics with us, and we really enjoyed having you.
What a pleasure. Great to be with both of you tonight. Thank you so much for having made the time.
Good. Awesome. Fantastic. And thank you everybody in the audience for joining us, and we will be back. We will be back soon.
Okay. Thanks so much. Thanks, Ken.
Great.
Thanks, Ken.
Great. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everyone. Yay. So I'll put myself back on screen here for a wee bit. That was fun to listen to. I enjoyed listening to that. Where am I at, though? Why am I not showing up? That's the wrong me.
I had to buy.
I saw it. Is that me? That's me there. Excellent. Whee! So let's just see how the chat's getting on. Did you enjoy listening to that there? It was interesting. A couple of sort of real, they know their audience, and also they know who they're talking to, obviously, right? So the guy Ken talking to the guy knew that he was talking to a guy who was going to say stuff back to him like the stuff he said, and the guy talking to Ken knew that he could get away with saying stuff, and the two of them could just chat about how, like if you Google that thing about Apple from 20 years ago, what was the point he was trying to make about that? I don't know what the point he was trying to make about that, but as I showed on the charts there, 18 years later it was back at the IPO price. And I mean, he's trying to attach himself to mythos has got fuck all to do with him, yeah, and he's a moron because it's not working, and anybody with a brain can see that. Except he's an egotistical Fruit Loop, says Jamie, and you can see that that's so obvious, right? And he's doing it to Ken Griffin, and Ken Griffin doesn't say anything about it to him, as if in that. It's like, well, man, I can't be in rooms with people who say stuff to me, knowing that it's going out as a public broadcast, and that I talk about things like integrity and stuff like that. It's like one of the reasons why I was talking about how I struggle to do collaborations with people on YouTube and whatever. whatever, because this is something that I would struggle to be like in that position, kind of having a rough idea of what the Apple chart would have looked like from the point of view of what it was IPO and what its early life of its company was actually like and everything else. And having looked at it, just looked at it. I also know other things like how you can't look at a 5-year chart of a company that's only been traded for less than 20 years and make any sort of technical assertion about what it looks like. It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. I'll just kind of give you some examples. We were going to talk about Cardano earlier on, right? As an example, let's put it on the 12-month chart here for Cardano and see what we can learn about this thing here. So this is the equivalent sort of technical, the point that the guy was making with regards to what the thing looks like over a period of time and whatever. It's just it's this level. This is absurd, right? This is absurd that these people had this conversation, and the guy who was in the room with them wasn't like what do you mean? You mean you're trying to make a point that you could make about a point about like a chart like this, or indeed even a chart more like this, or whatever. You could make these sorts of points about, but it's kind of bullshit. And yeah, I don't know what he was trying to say there. I don't really know what he was trying to say. He was speaking to somebody who's what?
The guy who was talking about
long only trader, right?
And he's talking to Ken Griffin, who's a risk only trader.
Yeah.
Who's the market makers
Yeah.
posting open positions on the same day, but 5-year projection of a company that's only been around. So Jimmy's making the point there to do again like the same sort of point I was making before about the absurdity of the conversation. I mean, on the one hand, you've got a guy who's a long only person who who's making points about charts, 5-year charts, and what that's got to do with GameStop, and his sort of his technical expertise is to be able to reference things like Apple and what the state of Massachusetts said if you Google the IPO of Apple, because you get a sort of flavor for like his level of expertise, really, and this is a guy who'll have plenty of degrees and everything else, and have plenty of employees underneath him, and a massive investment fund and tons of money and this is what we're talking about. But then he's talking to somebody here who makes it very clear during it that his only operations in the markets is to make the spread between buyers and sellers as a market maker, and to close trades out on the same day as they go through and all that. Now, of course, as well, the between the two of them, they gloss right over the settlement period. It's not T+0 in that, which is what it would be like if it was the case, if he was kind of if his point was true with regards to making markets and closing them out on the same day and all the rest of it. And when you're talking about a stock which has got a chart on the top of it, that GME, let's just see again here on the daily time frame back in January, and it's like, and you talk about the period of time up here when Melvin were having to do things, etc., to close some of their positions, and also then the way the FTDs work, and how you don't have to, it would require somebody else in the market to force a buy-in, and that actually there is the FTD/FTR system for dealing with failures to delivers, and around that time we know this is the case, and they're glossing over it with this kind of clown act conversation between one guy who looks at a 5-year chart and another guy who says that their duty is to just be making markets, when we know that they're a prime broker, that we know that that's a cornerstone, a pillar of the interaction between the actual depository trust where the shares are held, and then the brokerages out there like the likes of Robinhood, and at the same time that this guy is making markets, and at the same time is therefore has the ability to synthetically short. So the only people who have that legal right to be able to do that are market makers in order to make markets, but he's the prime broker,
and they legally have to have Chinese walls between these different functions of the bank, and he there admits that because of the short position in Melvin and the likely beta that he'd make if he took that risk from buying that company, and then having the ability to close those positions lower, that he'd be directly benefiting from the other side of the trade that he's supposed to have Chinese walls which he not even know about, and he actually bails them out. That's absolutely fucked.
And not only that, but he sat there talking to his pal about how they both did good in the deal at the time, which then later went on to be the IPO of Robinhood, which then shat on all of the market's face as it dumps the stocks down to, well, it's currently in all-time lows right now at the time of speaking. So where do we stand? As the audience listening to this, you know, you can hear the aristocratic levels of arrogance in the way that they don't expect anybody to pick apart their conversation, which is incredible, because I go out here onto the YouTube and stream live with complete raw exposure to the elements the market's kind of proven, you know, working for or against me, and everything having to operate on an absolute complete transparency basis, where regardless of what I say at any given time, the markets themselves will be a function to pick apart what I say, and it's everything's exposed, and then they're deliberately obfuscating and having a conversation which is reminiscent of watching two dogs walking around in circles as they smell each other's arses. And this is where we are. And we have to put up with this. We have to put up with this. And then the representatives that we have out there, the likes of Gary Gensler, who in and of himself, good on you, Gary. Really do like some of the sounds that you make. Are you their daddy? We still want to know. No, you're not. Actually, you did answer that at the time. But anyway, Gary, what about this T+0? And can you really deliver it? And are you really truly the man to deliver it? You know, when you think that to trade cryptocurrency on an exchange, you send them your private keys. And you said that live in Congress on a meeting that was just broadcasted across America to the American public. So more people were interested in watching that congressional hearing where you were saying that live to people than currently probably have accounts trading on cryptocurrency exchanges in most places in America. And they're tuning in to hear you say that, and then afterwards they go out and someone says to them, "Can you give me your private keys?" If you do that with your cryptocurrency, by the way, you lose all your money. Your private keys are your cryptocurrency. You give somebody that's just like leaving your front door open and asking the robbers to come in and have a look around. That's what that is. And he says to the American people to do that. So while on the one hand it's encouraging, right? That's the sort of word that we end up having to use as the tuned in alert retail trader. Oh, it's encouraging that the likes of Gary Gensler are out there looking to try and change up the system. But we also know the reality that if I actually properly engage in that conversation and start saying that, yeah, Gary Gensler is the man and he is going to do it correctly, that I take part in that conversation of two dogs running around in a circle sniffing each other's arses. The truth of it is, he's not the man to do it, because the man to do it would know not to send your private keys to somebody. And if you're talking about cryptocurrency, it doesn't matter. It's an embarrassingly critical thing to get wrong. Just like how we know that Ken Griffin isn't the man to make markets when he's got a direct conflict of interest in his operations. I mean, just like we know that other guy isn't the one to trust in terms of you know, looking after our interests as he shits on our face with his hood investment. So what do you think, and where does it leave us all? Where does it leave us all? That's my opinions. That's my takeaway from what we have just listened to. That's what I've got from it. Going to bring up the YouTube chat here and checking with y'all. Rocky Outcrop, NULS, Nulls, USDT going gangbusters. Is it? That's cool. Nulls up 130%. Whoa, holy sugar. Nulls, USDT. Nulls, USDT. That's what that looks like on a chart, on the 15-second chart. Wow, douche. Holy smokes. Big time movements over there. What else have we got in the world of the chit chat box in there? How's that all going? Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! This is the question of the day coming in from Jamie here. So this was awesome, guys. Thanks, Tubes. Great imagery. Hope did the stuff I was writing on the charts and stuff like that at the time, did that all work well and everything? Everybody have a good time? Just kind of scrolling back up. Everybody's having a good time. Good, nice one. Good to know you are all having a. Oh, hey, Horn Hunter, by the way, Horn Hunter. Shout out to Horn Hunter. Horn Hunter, buddy. It's good to see you. Do you know it was my birthday? Yeah, do you know it was my birthday 2 days ago? And I know you did. And do you know how I know you did? Because 367 days ago, you were the first person to come in and say hi to me on my live birthday stream. Good to see you, buddy. It's good to see you as ever. Right, anyway, nice to see you in there. That's excellent. I'm glad you tuned in, mate. Looking forward to episode 5 of Wheel of Time coming up on Friday. Right, anyway, what was it? So Jamie was saying that the question of the day left in the minds of traders is as to
solve the bad murder.
Did we solve the bad murders? It's Jimmy. Right, aye. So did we solve the bad murder? This is the 15-minute time frame on GME, and the question on the lips of people is 172.93 enough in terms of, you know, the Rocky Outcrop flash? And this is something that we're investigating together. When I first kind of started talking about this, I'd say it would have to go to the penny, you know. So has it? So you know. It hasn't gone to the penny. This little gap that came in here at 173.81. Well, we filled that in, and a touch more with this price action just here. So that was that part of things. Could we go any further? Well, the bounce that we've seen since then comes into the question. Like this is the let's just kind of think about this and let's be as generous as we can, right? Let's just be as generous as we can, because this is to address the question coming in from people who are thinking to themselves, will I have a chance to buy at 171? So in that sense, let's be as really generous as we can towards the bullish case, just to kind of hammer down on any sorts of fears, right, on that front before we start introducing other ideas. Like, and why would we do that? How would we benefit as traders with having that sort of mentality? And really, it's, you know, there's no magic there. It's that as a human being, you're very much liable to operate along the lines of a cognitive dissonance, a bias. You're going to trade with emotion, etc., and you're also going to look for therefore at the end of that, confirmation bias, right? So what we are suggesting, if we say could we go back to 171, what we're suggesting there is that we're bearish. So we'll start off looking for the most bullish case scenario there to avoid confirmation bias, right? So it's just taking this from the peak that we had at 199, you know, essentially the $200 failure to recapture $200 point, down to that very low of 172.93 or whatever it was. Is it right? Cool. Yeah, it says it on the left as well. It says 173.02 there. So that's the low, but whatevs. I'll continue. I'll use the magnet tool. I was making a broad point here with regards to this specific movement, but why not do it since we're here, and I'll do it to the penny style. So what I'm doing here is I'm measuring a Fibonacci retracement from this high down to this low just here, and coming in and saying, well, we're at the 382 at the minute. Incidentally, there's this parallel channel that I've drawn on the charts just now, but this is what I drew there on the 15-second time frame up when we had Kenny and all that talking. We can go back and look at that in a minute. I don't want that to distract you too much, so just hide it for this second. We're up above the 236. We're right at the 382 Fibonacci retracement point. Currently, we're putting in what would be considered a lower high so far if this were to become a local high. If it were to become a local high, the point at which we might be able to assess that it was a local high might be if we take out this wick over here and push down to sort of the 178 area, where we're down below the 236. So I mean, in the immediate thing right here right now, if we push down to 178.30 36 or so, then maybe at that stage we need to actually turn this into something more of a bottoming style formation, such as a double bottom, which would then involve the extreme possibility of that 171.5, as opposed to the questioning at that point, will we get another opportunity to buy there, as it was undoubtedly in the minds of those at 173 when the prices were low. The fear factor would return at that point, and you'd be far more likely to be thinking to yourself, well, are we actually going to 169, 168, 166? You know, that's what your emotions are going to be there. Let's face facts, because that's almost certainly what they would have been at that point over there when it was putting in those lows, and essentially getting down to the point at which it was within capturing 90%, and it had achieved, for me personally, the target that I was looking to get to. If I was going to take the risk of finding a bounce into that area, then that was the risk to reward that I wanted to take, and that's what I was aspiring towards. Well, anyway, but here we are, we're putting in a little bit of a doji, etc., and this is all here in the 15-minute time frame. And if we were to make this into a more bearish scenario than where we are now, we would have to jump up to a larger time frame to put that extra data on the screen. Okay, so we'd be now in a sense trading in a slightly different mentality. So here we'll do that, and we'll kind of put that data up on the screen here, and we'll see then that the place to measure from here instead is actually coming in at the 252 high. Where's the last one that, I mean, do you want to measure from here and here and do this incremental thing? Okay, we can do it that way, but the point's really going to be the point is to change from the point I was just making, so I can make a different point. Anyway, here, if you go up to the last high, you can see that the 236 is coming in here at 180, and whatever else. We come in here, and you can see we put it, the draw into the 223 price point. You can see that we're so far we've moved up to, but not quite beyond the 184 area. And then if I pop this into the high of the 252 area, then you can see that at this stage, you know, that's 189, 190, and I would say to those then, therefore, to address these concerns in terms of could we or could we not, it would be that right now the reality of what you're facing on that small term time frame would be the fear of actually judging that it goes beyond 171, and what you're looking at here is the potential for us to move up the way where you'd actually then at this point of 190, then that's maybe at that point, maybe when we get closures above that, where you start to think about how we might not go to 171, but that this is actually some distance away from where we are now, really, to be fully committed to that idea. And then if or whatever, so that fear that you're getting at that point so soon now at just 180 or so is equivalent to that fear that you got at 173 last time, with regards to whether or not we'll actually push further. So identifying those zones that we could push to is useful, and then from that set point of view for that bearish person, therefore looking here at this price point of 190 and saying that is at that region and above, when I start to think about how we'll not go to 171, then you're operating on a far more basis much more along the lines of managing your risk and buying and selling risk, as opposed to working on a predictive basis, and you're talking about the particular tolerance of prices at certain zones and how the risk would be changing there, and a far more realistic conversation, whereas the other one was really based around the idea of greed and FOMO. That's really realistically what it is. And just to draw the point home, I'm talking about this and I've gone up to the 1 hour time frame in order to encapsulate that 250 area and where you might see turning around at. The small term time frame idea is that you'll be trading on a smaller term time frame. So to trade with the idea that if you were trading this and looking for a move beyond $252 off the back of some sort of discrepancy of you know, a couple of bucks here or there, then you're what you're doing is conflating two different time frames together. If you're looking for a move beyond $253, then really in reality the difference of 171.50 and 173 is actually nominal. It's at that point it becomes nominal, and that's because that fits in with the risk tolerance that you'd be using to be trading for those particular targets. So now whenever I go back down to the 15-minute time frame, you see the significantly reduced amount of data that's on the charts at that point, and then I actually just go and hit the undo button enough times to fling this parallel channel back on the charts, which I had drawn in, let me remind you, on the 15-second chart. then now maybe you can understand some way, looking back, how you've been conflating different ideas together with regards to how you actually approach trading in the markets, and where maybe some of these ideas where how you've the pain that you've experienced, the moves that have gone against you, has partly come down to the fact that you're experiencing the wrong emotions at the wrong levels at the wrong time, based on a mixture, maybe perhaps, of targets which exist outside of the trading range that you're talking about with regards to your ability to make any sort of predictive assessment that is actually, you know, narrow enough, because on the time frame where that target is realistic, you're talking about splitting hairs type of less than a couple of % difference. And if you were to act that same way in terms of that at the top end in terms of taking profit, then you're absolutely going to end up losing money, because you don't want to trade to the penny, you know, because at that final move, like Walter White when he's cooking up his blue crystal meth with Jesse in the camper van, of that final few percent is the very, very hardest and riskiest few percent of the entire move to get, likewise down there at that bottom. So essentially you're talking about catching a knife on a 15-minute time frame in order to do a swing trade on a larger one, and that's where the basis of your confusion comes in at. Now this parallel channel I've drawn on the 15-second time frame, as obviously visible here in the 15-minute time frame, I just dropped down to something that makes it a little bit more kind of fleshed out looking, like the 3-minute time frame here. Then you can see that we're kind of kicking about within this. I had drawn on a wedge previously. A failed wedge becomes a parallel channel. Now a wedge can fail in a number of ways, just moving outside of the territory down to the fake out zone, where perhaps market structure, perhaps a lower low along the, a previous higher low, for instance in this example, as we've been moving up, a previous higher low kicks in as support, and actually we see that the prices bounce from that area and don't fulfill the promise of the wedge initially. A failed wedge therefore becomes a parallel channel, and that's what we're seeing here, roughly speaking, in terms of these sorts of movements. Maybe perhaps it ultimately did the move there in the you know, there's a 15-second time frame that I was trying to draw in on. Maybe there was some way of kind of scoping that out. You can see that when we actually did do this move, because of the hesitancy in the markets here, and it's visible, my indicator pops up and shows you that despite the fact that we've come out of this zone and moved out into fake out territory, that we're actually going to almost certainly, with a very extremely high degree of accuracy, move back into this zone right here, right there, and that's what ended up actually happening as the time. So that's histrionics at this stage, but that's just to show you. So anyway, in terms of the 5-minute time frame or something like that, whatever, just some sort of in between point, we've got targets up above that exist on the charts and are still there. This is the $212.50 time frame target on the 5-minute time frame that's been there for the last wee whiles, but we're having to wait until, and the question comes back in, until it is what it isn't, right? So what is it right now? And what it is right now, and I'll just draw on so you can see quite clearly: high, 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 and high. What's consistent about all of those highs? Every single one of them along the chain is lower than the previous high has been. Also consistent with all these lows here, right? Every single one of them along the chain has been lower than the previous ones have been. So at the best, you know, what we're looking for is bullish divergence here, and there almost certainly is some, which we'll look to at these lows and see, oh indeed, and there is this bullish divergence once, twice. Now, would we come in for 3 times a lady on this one and come back down to the 171.50? And then I suppose I can go back to the earlier chat that I had to frame that conversation out and to say, well, you know, it is what it is until it is what it isn't. I'll give up on that idea in terms of the here and now past $190. If the prices were to approach it without even getting close to $190, then I would probably think to myself that because of the fact that that puts us below the 236 Fibonacci retracement point from the 223 high down to where we are now, having not actually achieved that movement even at all, that perhaps, you know, we're still really bound within that lower move, and that low that we've just seen may not even be a local low on a larger time frame, i.e. we still may be within the mids, the body of, say, a 4-hour candle red body candle, or a daily time frame red body candle. That could still end up being the case, or a 2-day time frame red body candle, and we're just looking about the changes in the detail in between, which in the fullness of time will be papered over, and and will not see it. So what we need to see is something change here. So it is what it is until it is what it isn't. And at the earliest that I'll be willing to say that it's started to see that it's real will be whenever we've got closer to that 190 price point, as opposed to here where we're living up happily above 179, requiring a less than 5% move towards the downside in order to actually come into this was I right in saying that? Yeah, about less than 5% move to the downside to come in here to try in here for what would then be a double bottom, which would then at least look like something different on the charts, having in a world where we've never even put in anything that's higher than the previous highs. And if you want to just kind of draw reference to that, why am I so focused on that 190 price point? And you can see here, even on the 5-minute time frame, that this is where your last lower high was. And if we wanted to put in a single high, which is like, you know, a high, then when the best that we can do in the meantime is to challenge at this zone here, and then afterwards we're looking for a higher low, and we could have a high here and have a higher low now, or etc. But we're looking, if we're looking up towards that 21250 target, knowing that this is the best exit indicator in the world, then you're going to have to come up with some sort of justification for your entry at this price point now. And if I was talking to you and you said, well, I'm aiming up towards 253, and I used your indicator in terms of aiming down the way as for the entry on it, and using this as instead of the 212 price point, which is an exit indicator for us, the 171.50, which was an entry indicator, and that you were planning on trading that up beyond, then maybe you're not so bothered about whether or not you'd got in at 171.50, given that we knew that the price had already had a flash in between that meant that we were aiming for 90% down the way towards that target. And that, you know, so that's where you are right now anyway. So if you're trying to justify the trade up to there, then you could have easily have already got in, and that would be fine. But if you're trying to if you're trying to justify then the waiting here to get in to move up to 250 to 380, and you're using it based off the 50-minute time frame, then you have to acknowledge that we could actually still continue on past that 173 price point, and that in doing so we'd be acting as we were catching a knife, right? And currently, to buy at the current price point right now, you're not buying into the momentum on the higher price point. So, you know, the benefit of saying to yourself, oh, I don't care about that dollar difference between, you know, the target and where it went to, that's all been wiped away, you know, right? Okay, so it's moved up 5%, and that benefit's gone for you now. Like, so now to then buy into this is to be trying to think to yourself, I'm buying into momentum. And indeed, if you're buying into momentum for a trade on this sort of time frame, then you're going to be wanting to actually see that exist on the charts. So do we have that momentum? Have we entered into a zone where we can say that there's bullish conditions are in play? You know, 3-minute time frame. That's on the 5-minute chart. It's not on there on the 5-minute. So is it on the lower one, the 3-minute? You know, it wasn't there on the 3-minute. Is it there on the 2-minute? No, it's not there on the 2-minute. So you're going down a time frame on the 1-minute. Is it there on the 1-minute? No, it's not fucking there on the 1-minute anyway. So what momentum are you buying into? So the question then revolves back around again. So when somebody says there and they say, hey, everybody wants to know because they're nervous about whatever, then these are the conditions that you need to understand, right? And I have actually fully explained it all now. So if you're still wondering what the answer to your question is, go back and watch this section over again. And if you still don't get it after watching it then wait for a couple of days, see what happens with the price action, go back and then watch the section over again after you know what's ended up happening, and seeing where the prices have gone to in between all these different zones, and understanding that critical path that laid out. And then you'll probably be able to retrofit some technical analysis onto that experience, and retrofit understanding onto that technical analysis as to what the outcomes actually were. And this is what we do. This is what we do. Right. Okay, cool. So let's just see if that was did that work? Was that beneficial for people? Ooh, Rocky Outcrop, you're wearing that new sweater. Looks good. Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Is what Rocky and I would have liked to have been given when we first knew trading existed. You talk about what I'm talking about right now. That's the course. Traceone, are you considering marketing or SEO for the course? Chat with Traceone about that. Justin Gann, yes, I pay through PayPal. You're chatting about the course. I see Visa. Okay, you're chatting about the course. That's cool. Cardano, it's never is what it is. Confirming all my inner monologues for like the past 5 months. in a good way. Thanks so much. Oh, that was Brady Pearl was listening to me. Brady Pearl was listening. Good one. Nice one, man. All right. Today's the last day to sign up for the course before the first lessons come out, which because we don't actually know in terms of what time zone they come out on. We just know that it comes out on Friday, so who knows. But tomorrow is Friday, and so you'll be wanting to take part in that sort of cohort. Now, to say that you'd be missing out by not joining up by say a day or two, that's okay because it's for the weekend in that sense. So joining up over the weekend is kind of that idea. But yeah, today's that day if you want to kind of be there with at the same place as everybody else. At the very start. Aye, absolutely. Today's that day. That's the people that are getting the coaching. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the people who join up before the actual course starts are the people that get to do that coaching thing that we talked about as being part of. Jimmy's in there in the chat talking anyway. I'm sure you can see that. So if you're hearing me and you're not reading the chat and you're wondering about these questions about the course, rather than me say that all again or whatever, you can absolutely go in and read the chat in here because there's chat is happening and throughout this thing. And it's actually quite easy after the fact to watch episodes and to see all of the chat there. You can see it all. So it's all good. If you are watching this though and you're thinking, oh, it's not there, there's a moment when YouTube processes videos where it doesn't show the chat. It's a wee bit frustrating that it does that, but it's part of their back-end processing. This was beneficial. Thanks for the explanation, says Sky. Excellent. Sky was listening too. Banana Fridge, you're good. It's past 5 p.m. Yeah, it's time for me to go. Thanks, Banana Fridge. Brilliant explanation, says Shakar. Yeah, nice one. I'll try your surname again. Bajracharya. Yes, that might be the closest I've got yet. Cool. Excellent in both your abilities and my own. Jordan, what are you saying? I am confident in your abilities and my own. Brilliant, man. That's the way to be. I'm confident in your abilities too. Excellent. Nice to hear you saying that you've got a bit of belief in yourself, a bit of positivity. It's always good to see. Somebody says Cardano. That's good to know if it's moving around or something like that. That's happy times for people. Thanks for breaking down cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias. Really working on controlling my emotions, but still not easy, says Sky. Awesome. Brilliant. Yeah, no, it isn't easy. Look, it's not easy for anybody. It takes a long time. I benefit greatly in life from having experienced severe, extreme amounts of trauma throughout my entire life, so we are the product of our environment. I am here an amazing trader and I have the ability to cope with fear and greed and everything else, but I'm also somebody who's experienced extreme poverty in life. I'm somebody who's experienced extreme violence and extreme loss as well before outside of trading, I've also had things like experiences after having been a trader of having nearly died multiple times, right? Which makes some of this, I have to say, a lot easier for me, right? So when you say you're still struggling with it, it's like that's to be expected, right? That's to be expected. But I'm here able to tell you that there's so much to being a trader, and you're absolutely well and truly on the way, and you're doing very well. So, and I believe in you massively, right? So the course starts Friday. It seems like it's going to be amazing and life changing. There's a 3-month payment plan available, and it comes with access to Discord. Don't be a fool, stay in school. Is that what we're doing there with that one as well? Yeah, right, cool. Okay, so for people who want to know as well, access to the Discord means that it's the $25 a month thing that is at the minute, and like I said, that price of that's going up in 2022. So you think about the person who joins up to the course in 2 months time, then there's that. But to people who are in the Discord already paying for the Discord access, there is that kind of that overlap thing, and people have been asking me about that. So I guess that means that to manage that, I'll have to offer the discount of $25 a month or whatever, so so it'll be a couple $100 or something and stuff like that. So that's the so organizing that, like, this is all happened very rapidly, so and these discussions are all very live and everything else. So there's no intention on my part to be in any way sort of duplicitous about any of these sorts of things or whatever, but the figuring these things out is that, and it'd be at that level of that sort of value that we're talking about with the thing. And I don't know, what did we say? It's 3 months. Was it 3-month payment plan available that comes with access to Discord? Yeah, so 3 months of Discord access on on the thing there probably as well would probably be the way to do it for the 3-month course and whatever. You know, like, so what would that be? I mean, I can easily hand out $75 discounts to people if that's the way they think it should be. I mean, what do you think it should be as part of the course? The Discord access is going up to $50 a month. So thinking about this from the guy that signs up to the course in January 2022, they're getting $150 worth of Discord access as part of to the course. You know, you just let me know what way should work best, like what way genuinely it should work best, and whatever else. I don't know. But for everybody else that's wondering as well, that there's a Patreon level, is $100 a month, and that's for the indicator tier. And as a part of that, you're getting free Discord access. So the people out there who are paying $100 a month at the minute for Discord are paying $100 a month at the minute for the indicator, and they're getting the Discord in there included with it for free. I hope you understand that. It's not that I give them the discount. You get it? Likewise, to the one person who's really generous out there, I don't have anything to say to you, man. Don't worry about it. And then to everybody else, like, let me know what you think is the way it should be, right? And stuff like that. So, right, yeah, because this is live. It's live ongoing. There's like nothing is exactly set in stone, and whatever else. I don't know. Right, cool, whatever. Right, so we'll figure it out. Maybe you give the people who've joined up already to Discord the anticipated increased price in Discord. So give them the $150 discount to the thing. Yeah, I don't know. You just let me know, right? Thanks so much for all the positivity though about all of this sort of stuff. You're not allowed to diet, it's forbidden. No, look, I'm not going to diet ever. It's not that. It's like the first time that this all happened to me with all that sort of stuff, I had no idea, right? I had no idea that was going to happen. It was told after the fact, and then after the fact I was like, okay, well, we'll not let that happen again. These things can happen, but they're not going to happen to me, and I'm never going to die. I'm going to live forever. It's true, right? So don't worry about me. I've got it all nailed down, completely locked in. All right, Brady Pearl, you can be a porridge eater and join the Discord. Apple, dying is fine, dancing is forbidden. Oh, you're right. Joe Maxwell putting the faces. Oh no, it's Sky trying to Joe. Cheers, Joe, Sky. Oh, you're loving each other. Oh, lovely. I believe we can fix 2008 with GME, so I hold. That's cool. Crazy link, please. If you're asking for a link, it's in the Discord, in the description. I assume you are. And if you're asking for Chainlink TA, well, I'm afraid it's time for me to tune out. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Right, Christy, in there with that link up the top. If you do want to join the best trading community in the world, then there's the link in the pinned in the description in the chit chat box there, so click that. Kieran Ghost, KP, good to see you. TradeSpotting, thanks for being the mod here again as ever. Shadow of Lepton, oh, and do check out TradeSpotting's channel if you're new here and you don't know who that guy is. He's great. Shadow of Lepton, Sky, Little Crazy, Apple. Wow. An anonymous person just put a tip in here, and I don't want to show the details of it on the screen because then, you know, you might not be anonymous. I mean, if you don't want to, you can say who you are. I'll not say you are because it says anonymous there. Thank you so much for that. That was really, really, really kind of you. Really generous. Thank you so much for that. It was really appreciated. It's really kind of you. Thank you so much. That's amazing. It's truly amazing for that donation. Thank you so much, man. Cool. Thanks. That's really kind of you. Okay, so thank you so much to Shikar for joining here with us and chatting about things today. Thank you so much, Apple. Thank you so much, Tainted Shrew. Tainted Shrew, great guy, by the way. And for helping so much with the paint, the indicator thing and whatever. I've lost it. Lost it. Thanks for helping with the printer project, and we'll continue to work on that and get that sorted. I'm really thanks so much for your generosity, by the way, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous. You're one of the good ones. I know who you are. Thanks so much, man. Jordan, Sauced, Banana, KP, Worthy, Mike Hunt, Linda Woods, Rocky Trader. Who's Rocky Trader? All right, cool. That's Rocky. Oh, yeah, it's Rocky Trader. Good man. Sorry, shock for a second. My brains. I've lost it. Like I said, Tubes, KP. Thanks so much for tuning in to the anonymous Daniel, Grow, Dober, Yeti Eddie. It's been a while since I've watched you and Jamie. been having family medical issues and work got in the way. I'll timestamp more of his soon. Yeah, Eddie, man, it's that's really quality. Thank you so much, man, and it's appreciated. It's always good to see you, my friend. Luke Spears, thanks for being really generous earlier on as well yourself there. Cheers for that, Luke, man. That's always massively appreciated. Justin Gann, thank you. Shakar, Dukiamo. I don't know how to pronounce your name, buddy. Thanks so much. Juice. Right, cheers, Juice. L4G, thanks so much, and Yo Ho Ho Bel Air, thanks so much for the $9.99. Space Banana, Bam Mama Jama Kevin, and Champ, thanks so much for your contributions to the show today. To everybody in chat, pardon? Printer, says Ben. Printer, aye, that's the word I was looking for. Aye, that was it. I got there in the end. All right. Cool, thanks so much then. We'll all chat about all of the sort of details of all of the course and everything else. This is a massively evolutionary thing, and I really do appreciate everybody who is actually going to be in that first cohort, because of course it will be your feedback that shapes the future of the course for everybody else that goes through it as well. So, you know, you are the ones that create the trodden path, and what we're doing here together is we're the rising tide, and thanks to all of you for being that rising tide, and we're creating the sort of the first real sort of path to success. We know that typically most traders lose most of their account straight away, and that nearly all traders lose their entire account within 12 months. And what we're trying to do is break the wheel on that one. The likes of Horn Hunter showing up 367 days after my birthday last year and whatever else is the likes. You know, he's still here, so we're already changing lives. You know.
Yeah. It's not just about helping you save money, although that's true. It's also about helping you change the way you think about the way you think, and implicitly helping you understand the difference between consciousness and perception and how that affects your trading, while adding to your ability to make the most of your own preponderance to take risks, your own proclivity for doing things that others wouldn't, and being able to formalize your personality into a system of distribution which you can take value from and live the life that you deserve to live.
Great. That's what it's about. So thanks so much to everybody for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Nathan, Phil, Wolfie, Ayo, Cameo for Jamie, Brady, Amber, all y'all in there. Love the hearts. Love seeing you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Yous are the rising tide, and we'll keep on rising. Until next time, I've been Rocky Outcrop. I'll be Rocky Outcrop when I come back again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Drop a like, share it with a friend.